Chapter 2185. Hello. How have you been recently? Yizichin couldn't help but smile when he saw the message. All of a sudden, Yizichin didn't know how to reply. Haha, it seems like you're too excited and don't even know what to say to me. It's too troublesome to talk like this. How about we meet? Where are you? Look behind you. Yizichin, who was standing in the virtual network, turned around and saw the short-haired Saya waving at him. Shea. Yizichin ran over with a smile. You've been doing well while I was away. You're already at the star level. Where have you been? Yizichin asked. Don't you know where I've been? Shea giggled. Although you're a bit dumb, it's not like you can't even guess something like that, right? If you don't know how to talk, then don't. Yizichin rolled his eyes. Shea laughed along with him. Alright, I'll stop joking with you. I came back to tell you that I'm safe. The Milky Way's wanted list has been cancelled. I finally don't have to hide anymore. Do you know why the Milky Way's wanted list was cancelled? The cancellation was very sudden. Although Yizichin was very happy when he found out, it all happened too quickly without any warning. After all, the Milky Way's wanted list had only been cancelled for a little over a month. Compared to the average lifespan of humans in the universe, it was ridiculously short. Canceling it right after it was announced was too much of a joke. How would I know? Who do you think I am? Shea twitched her mouth. A small fry like me doesn't dare to guess the intentions of those big shots. That's true, Yizichin nodded. If he really wanted to know, he would have to ask by phone. She was a member of the 5 God clans. She was able to attend the Octagon Table, and was in contact with the leaders of the Virtual Realm Corporation and the Universe United Bank. She definitely knew more than Shea. Then I'll congratulate you on regaining your freedom. Yizichin cupped his hands towards Shea. Oh yeah, do you need money? I got 10 million cosmic credits from the Milky Way Master. I've earned quite a bit recently. You can tell me if you need money. 10 million, he's really shameless. Shea pursed her lips. It was obvious that she felt that it was too little. Yizichin had an elemental fairy. If one wanted to nurture an elemental spirit, one would need to consume a massive amount of resources. Even Shea felt that 10 million universe credits was not enough. What's more, Yizichin had an elemental fairy. Keep it for yourself. I won't fight with you for that bit of money. Shea shrugged. You don't have to worry too much about me. I'm now leaning against a big tree to enjoy the shade. You just have to sort out your own matters. So what if you entered the Virtual World Corporation? Yizichin twitched his mouth. What? Are you envious? Shea grinned. Alright, I won't talk to you anymore. I came to find you this time because the Virtual World Corporation instructed me to. They know me. Yizichin frowned. Not really. Shea understood what Yizichin was referring to. She shook her head. I came here to compensate you. Didn't you complain earlier? Instantly, Yizichin's eyes lit up with understanding. It was because of this. Why did they send you? I applied to come. Right now, I'm a highness in the Virtual World Corporation, so I have to do something for them. It just so happened that my bounty ended, and I saw that they were looking for you, so I came. Shea smiled at Yizichin, then reached out her hand. Don't say too much. Then, Shea handed Yizichin a piece of paper. This is a piece of data, and also the Virtual World Corporation's compensation for you. What do you do? A life, Shea squinted her eyes. You know about the second universe, right? Yes. After you exchange this piece of data, you will have a chance to be reborn, said Shea. Really? Yizichin was shocked. Nothing was more important than his life. Everyone else only had one chance. If they died, they died. Yizichin, on the other hand, could have an extra life. With this life, Yi now had enough confidence. Things that she might have been afraid of previously could now be done boldly and decisively. Even if he died, he would have another chance. Even I am shocked by the Virtual World Corporation's compensation for you. I suspect that my esteemed master already knows of your existence, said Shea. Your esteemed master? The head of the Virtual World Corporation, Lord Wunli, Shea said proudly. Shea's expression was somewhat proud. Are you afraid now? Let me tell you, my master is a great beauty. You took her as your master. Yi Zichen couldn't help but open his mouth wide. Wunli, a big shot who dared to insult billions of people in the livestream room. One of the most powerful beings in the entire universe. Sha Ya's luck was too good. I didn't take her as my master, she took me as her disciple. Shea continued to look up. My esteemed master said that I have talent in illusions. All of a sudden Yi Zichen thought about the relationship between Shea and the Master of the Galaxy, as well as the relationship between Wunli and the Master of the Galaxy. Wunli and the Master of the Galaxy had a close relationship. Shea was also the Master of the Galaxy's sister-in-law. It was understandable that Wunli would take Shea as her disciple. Then you have to work hard. Don't waste your esteemed master's efforts, Yi Zichen smiled. Next time we meet, you won't be as good as me with a supreme being as your teacher. Then I'll have to look down on you. Dream on, Shea cursed. Do you know what level I am now? Universe level. My esteemed master has already healed me. You're only a star level. So what? Yi Zichen didn't take it to heart. As long as he entered the elemental lands again, he would be able to obtain the elemental spirits there. Of course, there really were elemental spirits in the early stages. Even if there weren't, he could let Lil Fire devour the elemental energy there. Lil Fire would reverse nurture Yi Zichen. Even if he didn't reach the star system level, he would at least reach the peak of the star system level. If he could turn into an elemental spirit, even better. What's more, now that he had a secret technique in the second universe, he had a great advantage. As long as he used it well, he would definitely reach the universe level in less than 100 years. To the universe, 100 years was like a drop in the ocean, passing in the blink of an eye. It wasn't impossible for him to catch up to Shea. Young man, it's good to be confident. Older sister will be waiting for you up ahead. Shea patted Yi Zichen's shoulder. Don't think that it's so easy for you to surpass me. There will be a genius competition soon. All the 3080 universe countries will participate. If you really have the ability, then come find me at the Carefree Pagoda. I'll wait for you here. Chapter 2186. Genius Competition? The one where the 8 titans select the geniuses? Yi Zichen asked. Shea also nodded. That's right. Alright, then wait here. I'll come find you soon. I hope that senior can help me out. Yi Zichen bowed like a junior. Well said, well said. Shea patted Yi Zichen's shoulder. At that moment, Ball patted Yi Zichen's shoulder. Easy, the game is starting. Alright, I got it, Yi Zichen said to Shea. Yi Zichen said to Bar, then turned towards Shea. The game's starting, I have to enter. Sure, don't forget to sign up, Shea said. No problem. Yi Zichen entered the virtual game. The Virtual World Corporation's update this time was very short. Actually, it was just renaming the Milky Way system to the Milky Way system. After that, there weren't many changes in the game. Not long after entering the game, Steel Kiki sent a message asking when the path of the hero could be started. Yi Zichen looked at his friends list. Practically everyone had already entered the game the moment the game was updated. It was as if nothing had happened. The game only had one life, but it did not affect the player's passion for the game. Actually, the main reason was nobody was willing to give up on the opportunities in the original universe. Big bro, why did you find us so urgently? At that moment, Yi Zichen, who was squatting outside the beginner village, suddenly heard an urgent voice. You weren't noticed by those people, right? Following that was a rather gloomy voice. All of a sudden, Yi Zichen perked up. The Virtual World Corporation had already clarified that the game belonged to the second universe, and the NPCs here were natives. In the hearts of many humans, they were still NPCs. Any action they took was worth noticing. From what these people said, it seemed like they were planning something. Yi Zichen ordered his backpack. Yi Zichen had already used quite a few invisibility scrolls. They were things that he didn't normally have any use for. He was going to sell them, but he didn't expect them to actually be useful. These natives didn't want others to notice them. Invisibility scrolls were perfect use. Then, Yi Zichen's character started to become transparent. Yi Zichen only peeked his head out when he completely fused with the world. Under a client tree. 2 men stood under the tree. One of them had a shark mark on his arm, while the other had a shifty-eyed look. From time to time, he would whistle at the natives and humans in the distance. "Don't cause trouble." The man with the shark print slapped the skinny man's head. "Big brother, why did you call us here?" The skinny guy covered his head. "We can't just move around. The people of God still need us for guidance. If God finds out, we're done for." "Deity? Guide?" Yi Zichen frowned. Deities should be referring to human gamers, and guidance might be the quests that the gamers accept. God, the head of the Virtual World Corporation? What God? Bullshit. The man with the shark print scolded angrily. "Why should we, the natives, bow down to those fellows? Who do they think they are?" "Big brother." The skinny man was shocked. "I'm telling you, we can't go on like this." The man with the shark print frowned. "Big brother, then what do you think? I've had enough of this kind of life." The man with the shark print snorted. "You make it sound nice. We're extraditing here. Actually, we're no different from slaves right now. The people in the village are too stupid, they all believed that bullshit God's words. They even gave us a chance to compete fairly. Those people of God can't even die, fair my ass." "Big brother, lower your voice." The skinny guy carefully pulled the man with the shark print by his arm. "I heard that the time for the people of God's blessing has already passed. They are no longer undying. They are the same as us, they only have one life." "Really?" the shark print exclaimed. "Of course." The skinny guy looked around. "Aren't there a few women, among the people of God, who are doing that at the west side of the village? Wang San went there and didn't want to pay, so the woman grabbed his arm and refused to let him go, so Wang San strangled her to death. Then Wang San was constantly worried. He was afraid that the people of God would come and find him. Speaking of which, he is rather timid. It's just that he was a bit angry at the time, so he was terrified afterwards. However, the people of God didn't come even after several days, and I didn't hear about her doing that again," said the skinny guy. F***ck. Yi Zichen couldn't help but curse silently in his heart. Why are there still humans who come here to do that? There must be something wrong with their brains. Yi Zichen firmly believed that something must have happened. However, they didn't say anything after waiting for so long, which made him a bit anxious. "Dead?" The shark print frowned. "They probably really are dead. Otherwise, how could the women in that line of work be so quiet?" The skinny guy shrugged. "What's more, those people of God's have been much more careful than before. They aren't as indifferent as before." "Is that so?" The shark print squinted his eyes and nodded. "Big brother, I feel like the God isn't scaring us. She said that she would give us justice, so she will." "Look, the blessings of the people of God are gone," said the skinny guy. 5 years? Do you know how much we will fall behind in 5 years? The shark print snorted angrily. "We are the natives of this world, and enjoy everything in this world. Those people who call themselves gods sealed us in a barrier. I'm telling you, we have to take back what belongs to us. We can't let those outsiders benefit." The Master of the Milky Way discovered the second universe. The first thing he did was to seal the natives of this place in a specific space. He isolated the energy of the universe and restricted their freedom. Isolating the energy of the universe, restricting their freedom. When the game was released, the seal on the natives was lifted, and the former seal became the novice village's safe zone. "Big brother, even if we do this, the village chief will not agree to it." "Why not?" Shark Man snorted. As long as we have the strength, everything we do is right. Besides, do you really think that old village chief wants to be a slave? I've long noticed that he's been sending people out to fight for resources outside. He's also waiting for an opportunity. Really? Why would I lie to you? The Shark Man said in a low voice. Why don't you think about it? Where did the people who were chosen to be guards in our village go? Big brother, what are you going to do? The skinny man asked. I've found a secret place full of elemental energy. Let's not ask for anything else. As long as we can dig out some element crystals, we'll be rich. Element crystals. The skinny man was shocked. He grabbed the Shark Man's arm. Does anyone else know? No, I found you not long after I found out. Let's go there as soon as possible. The sooner we get there, the more we can earn. Chapter 2187. Elemental Crystals. Could it be an elemental energy crystal? Yizichin, who was hiding nearby, rubbed his chin. Regardless of whether it was an elemental energy crystal or not, since it was related to the elements, it was definitely useful to Yizichin. Even if it was useless, if he could snatch it, he could definitely sell it. By phone. Since Yizichin wasn't sure what elemental crystals were for, he decided to ask the White Phoenix. The venerables of the 5 god clans must know about elemental crystals. The message had just been sent out. White Phoenix sent him a video message. I can't turn on a video call. Yizichin quickly sent a message after rejecting the video call. What's wrong? What are you afraid of letting me see? White Phoenix replied very quickly. It's not convenient for me to send a message. I bumped into a boss just now and it's stalking me. I just want to ask you, what the hell is an element crystal? Crystal? Or? White Phoenix replied. Crystal or pure crystal. There's a big difference between the two. I'm not too sure either. Yizichin tried to eavesdrop. The Shark Man only mentioned elemental crystals, but didn't say whether they were ores or pure crystals. I'll explain to you later. Yizichin could tell that Bai Feng really was busy, so he didn't pursue the matter. He simply continued to squat on the ground. Speaking of element crystals, the thin man's face was trembling with excitement. Big brother, what are you waiting for? Let's go. Are you sure no one else knows that you came to find me? The Shark Man looked very cautious, but what he didn't know was that Yizichin was squatting beside him and listening to them talk about elemental crystals. Absolutely not. The skinny man patted his chest. Go. With that, the two of them left in a hurry. Yizichin quickly followed, and used an invisibility scroll along the way. What is this place? The Shark Man and the skinny man walked very quickly, so Yizichin could only follow behind them and try his best not to get left behind. Several hours later, there was no reply from White Phoenix. Yizichin silently followed them across the plains, over the hills, and into a world of ice and snow. This place was similar to Sky Mountain. It was just that it was surrounded by hills. There were no towering mountains like the Heavenly Mountain. Big brother, this place is too cold. The skinny guy following the Shark Man couldn't help but cross his arms. How much longer do we need? It's just in front. Excitement surfaced in the Shark Man's eyes. Not long later, Yizichin, who was following behind them, saw a small hill surrounded by azure light. Look! Shark Man, who was walking at the front, pointed forward. Many bright blue gems could be seen outside the hill. Crystal mine. The skinny man was shocked. He ran to the small hill and stretched out his hand to grab the ore. Be careful! The Shark Man was just about to speak, but he was still a step too late. The skinny man had already touched the gemstone. The moment he touched the gemstone, a layer of blue ice formed on his arm. He instantly retracted his hand. The blue ice spread all the way to his arm. This is actually an ice crystal mine. The skinny man stared at the ice crystal mine in front of him, then looked at his arm. Then, to Yizichin's surprise, the thin man actually yanked his right hand away. His decisiveness caused Yi Zichen's heart to tremble. What are you doing? It's more troublesome if the ice chi invades the body. The thin man laughed, then sealed off the blood vessels in his arm. He looked at the ice crystal mine with burning eyes. Big bro, we've really struck it rich. An ice crystal mine is a variant of the water element. That's right. Sharkman nodded. I've made a rough estimate. If we can mine all of these elemental ores and use them together, it's very likely that we'll gain the power of the universe's ice element. If we sell it to anyone else, it'll be worth at least 10,000 cosmic dollars. Damn. So expensive. Yi Zichen couldn't believe his ears. This piece of lousy ore was worth 10,000? Or cosmic dollars? A variant of the water element, ice. When it came to ice, the first thing Yi Zichen thought of was Big Sister Lu. She'd mastered an ice-type cultivation technique to the point of perfection. Ding. Level 85 Boss Frost Mammoth has been slain. Member of the Upheaval Alliance killed. A system notification suddenly popped up. Yi Zichen stared blankly at it for a long while. He'd only been away from the game for a few days, but the notification had already changed. The killer's name didn't appear, but the faction's name. The Upheaval Alliance? Wasn't that what Yi Zichen had set up? Did you steal the boss? Yi Zichen immediately asked Bai Fun. They were the only two members of the Milky Way Alliance. I stole it, replied Bai Fun. You didn't kill anyone, did you? The game was no longer a game. Dead people couldn't come back to life. Yi Zichen was rather concerned about that. I killed him, replied Bai Feng simply. He wasn't one of us, so I can't tell you. Wait until we meet up, replied Bai Feng. Where are you? Yi Zichen sent her his coordinates. Aren't you right next to me? Why are you here? Wait a moment, I'll be there soon. Use an invisibility scroll, warned Yi Zichen. It wouldn't be good if Sharkman and the skinny man discovered him. He planned to keep an eye on them and see if there was anything else. Big bro, you haven't told anyone else, have you? Only the two of us know. I don't trust anyone else at all. Big bro. The skinny man's eyes were brimming with excitement, and so was Sharkman. After we mine it, we'll split 64. You discovered it, but you still want to give me 40%? The skinny man's eyes brimmed with gratitude. He walked up to Sharkman and opened his arms. Sharkman chuckled and opened his arms. Who asked us to be brothers? I really can't thank you enough. At that moment, a dagger suddenly appeared in the skinny man's sleeves. He plunged it into Sharkman's chest. But 40% is too little. I want all of it. I really have to thank you. I didn't tell anyone, so this ice crystal mine is mine now. Then, he pushed back with all his might. Sharkman fell to the ground in disbelief. In the blink of an eye, he was frozen into an ice sculpture. Mine. It's all mine. The skinny man stared at the ice crystal mine like a madman. Yi Zichen's face darkened. What kind of development was this? At first, Yi Zichen had been rather moved by their brotherly love. But now, they'd suddenly turned against each other. At that moment, Bai Feng shook her head and walked over. Die. The skinny man charged over with bloodshot eyes when he saw someone else appear. His sudden appearance startled Bai Feng. Then, Bai Feng twisted the dagger around her wrist, causing the skinny man to fall onto the ground. Yi Zichen's expression darkened once more. F***CK. What kind of bullshit plot is this? Chapter 2188. In the pool of blood. The skinny man stared at the ice crystal mine in front of him. He stretched out his hand and was filled with unwillingness. Perhaps in his heart, he was just a little bit away. As long as they could mine the ice crystal mine here, they would be able to rise to the top. Yi Zichen stared at the scene in shock. Gee, what was this for? Where are you? I'm here. Bai Feng stood in front of the skinny man's corpse and sent Yi Zichen a message. I'm here. Yi Zichen waved at Bai Feng, then walked out of the invisibility scroll. He walked toward the skinny man. There was a blood stain on the skinny man's neck. There was no way for him to survive. Why are you hiding here? Bai Feng glanced at the thin man on the ground and shrugged. You see, it's this guy who wants to kill me. If I don't fight back, I'll die. No need to explain to me, I understand, Yi Zichen smiled wryly. In truth, Yi Zichen really didn't feel too guilty about the lives and deaths of the universe's natives. If he died, so be it. Perhaps they weren't from the same universe, so he didn't have any feelings for them. There's only one. Bai Feng looked at the shark guy who had been stabbed to death by the skinny guy. You killed him. Do you think that's possible? Yi Zichen twitched his mouth. I don't think it's possible either. Bai Feng shrugged. You're a little too soft-hearted, young man. It's not that I want to nag at you, but your way of thinking will only harm you. His reverence for life had turned into soft-heartedness. Far too many people had said that to Yi Zichen, but that was just his personality. Moreover, wasn't killing decisively a form of disregard for life? What's going on? Brothers are going back and forth, and this skinny guy was killed by the one in front? Bai Feng said, You didn't ask me to come here just to show me this, did you? I've seen too much. There's no need. It was you who wanted to come, sister. Yi Zichen shrugged. He hadn't mentioned asking White Phoenix to come. He'd only asked about the crystals. Afterward, White Phoenix asked for the coordinates and found her own way over. Is that so? Bai Feng was surprised. You really are a forgetful person. Yi Zichen let out a long sigh helplessly. Since you're here, then, there's an ice crystal mine here. How should we deal with it? I knew it. Suddenly, Bai Feng slapped her own head as if she had come to a sudden realization. I was wondering why this place suddenly turned into a world of ice and snow. So there's an ice crystal mine. Where is it? It's right in front of you. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. So it's here. When he saw Bai Feng's reaction, Yi Zichen couldn't help but smack his head. He really doubted whether Bai Feng was a venerable. From the beginning to the end, she was brimming with the aura of youth. Her hair was tied up in a bun, and no matter where she went, she was full of curiosity about everything and knew everything like the back of her hand. Ice crystal mine. Bai Feng muttered as she reached out to touch it. Don't. Yi Zichen thought back to the skinny man's appearance when he touched the ice crystal mine, so he quickly walked up, but to his surprise, as expected of the primeval universe, there's a lot of water element energy here. Bai Feng held a palm-sized blue ice crystal ore and nodded. You. What about me? Bai Feng squinted her eyes. Are you going to ask why the cold didn't enter my body? This bit of cold is nothing to you. I'm a fire woman. I have the full bloodline of the divine phoenix. This bit of cold. Don't even talk about sealing me. I'm lucky I didn't melt it. Bai Feng played with the ice crystal in her hands for a moment, then tossed it to the ground. The moment it landed, the cold air from the ice crystal mine froze the surrounding snowy ground for several meters before it stopped. The primeval universe is full of elemental energy, so this ice crystal mine is of a very high grade. Bai Feng seemed to be talking to herself, but also explaining to Yi Zichen. If we brought this kind of ice crystal mine to the first universe and sold it to those ice element masters, it would definitely fetch a hefty price. Does it have to be ice? Won't water work? Water definitely won't work, Bai Feng explained. This is ice, a high-level form of water element. If water element masters try to absorb it, they'll freeze their own elemental energy. Alright. If Yi Zichen couldn't use it to increase his water element, then the ice crystal mine was useless to him. But if he gave it to Big Sister Lu, what level do I need to be to absorb this kind of ice crystal mine? Yi Zichen asked. If Big Sister Lu could absorb it, then he was prepared to mine it for her. Are you going to absorb it directly? Asked Bai Feng. Can't I? Ice crystal ores are ores. They're raw materials that haven't been tempered. It's very difficult to absorb them directly, Bai Feng shrugged. If you had that ability, then you wouldn't need to absorb them. If you want to use them, you need to turn them into crystals. How do I do that? Go find a blacksmith in the newbie village, said Baifeng. White Phoenix said, you can mine all the ores, give them to the blacksmiths to forge, and then take them out. Yi Zichen subconsciously glanced at Baifeng. Almost instantly, Baifeng's eyes widened. Don't even think about it. I don't have time to be a miner for you. I can't open them myself. The ice crystal mine's cold air might not be enough to harm Baifeng, but Yi Zichen couldn't touch it. Just now, when Baifeng played with it, Yi Zichen felt his blood freeze. If he tried to mine it himself, he'd definitely suffer the same fate as the skinny man. The cold would invade his body, and he'd have no choice but to rip his arm off. Can't you just hire natives? Baifeng patted Yi Zichen on the shoulder. You can't treat this place like a game anymore. You have to treat it like reality. Everyone here is a living, breathing person. They're no different from the people of the first universe. Remember, I said no different. Do you want to establish your own faction in the future? Suddenly, Baifeng's question stumped Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen had long since considered this. Being a loner would definitely be much more enjoyable, but if you surveyed the entire universe, anyone who wanted to establish themselves needed the support of an enormous faction. Furthermore, given Yi Zichen's current situation, there was no way he could be a carefree loner. He had Earth behind him, and he had family he couldn't bear to part with. I guess so. Since that's what you're thinking, you can start now, said Baifeng, looking at the ice crystal mine. This mine is your first step into the future. Isn't the name of your character Future? You have to fight for the future yourself. Chapter 2189. He had to fight for the future himself. Yi Zichen knew that very well, so he had been working hard without caring about anything else. He looked at the ice crystal mine in front of him. He roughly understood what Baifeng meant. She specifically mentioned that this place was no different from the real world. She was actually trying to get Yi Zichen to use the second universe as a base to expand his strength. The second universe belonged to the primal universe. Everything had just begun. Even though there were natives here, Yi Zichen's current situation was outstanding among the humans in the first universe. In the second universe, he was at the top of the first universe. But in the first universe, he was nothing more than a speck of dust. No matter what, the first universe had existed for countless years. It would be much more difficult for Yi Zichen to stand out in the first universe than in the second universe. In the first universe, the Master of the Galaxy had left many clues. If Yi Zichen could take over, then he would have a place in the first universe in the future. Most importantly, those people didn't care about him at all. He had once sworn to create his own power, a power that he had personally nurtured. He couldn't treat this place as a game anymore. The second world was actually a portal between the two universes. I understand. A solemn look surfaced in Yi Zichen's eyes. What he needed to consider right now was how to truly integrate into the primal universe. It was very easy to create a power here. What was hard was how to strengthen it, and how to recruit the experts and geniuses here. He needed a chance for the people here to acknowledge him. He also needed a territory that belonged to him. A sect needed a mountain, and a family needed a place to stay. He couldn't just stand in the beginner's village and shout a few words and get a bunch of people to follow him wholeheartedly. Hey, big sis, be a good person to the end. At that moment, Baifeng took out a medallion from her pocket. You're pretty lucky. Big sis got a city-building medallion when we were fighting bosses. Since I can't use it, I'll give it to you. This, Yi Zichen looked at Baifeng in shock. This should be the first city-building medallion, right? No need for all that nonsense. Didn't you give me clear spirit water and holy spirit fruit before? Baifeng put the city-building spirit into Yi Zichen's hands with a smile. Where are you going to build the city? This is definitely not a suitable place. I have a goal. Yi Zichen burned the shark man and the skinny man on the spot, then noted down the location of the ice crystal mine before leaving in a hurry. White Phoenix followed behind him. A few hours later, the two of them arrived in front of a ruined city. This was the city Bai Se had brought Yi Zichen to. There was a seal around the city that prevented him from entering, and there was also a safe zone around it. Yi Zichen had always wondered whether he needed to activate the city in order to use it. Yi Zichen was prepared to give the city-building medallion a try. Ding! You can't build a city at this location, eh? No? Yi Zichen gazed at the ruined city. The city-building order was in his hands, but he couldn't activate it, and he couldn't build on its original location. What are you doing here? Bai Feng looked around. Look at this city, said Yi Zichen. This city is of a much higher level than the newbie village, but you can't enter it. I've been wondering if I should activate it, so I decided to give it a try after you gave me the city creation order. In the end, no. Yi Zichen pursed his lips. I can't activate it or cover it, but I'm sure that there's a treasure in this city. There definitely is. Maybe. Bai Feng hesitated for a moment, then answered half-heartedly. To tell the truth, she really didn't feel like there was any treasure in this ruined city. It didn't look like there was any treasure in it. Then what are you going to do now? I'm going to take a picture of a city next to it. When the city expands in the future, I'll cover it up. Yi Zichen licked his lips. I have to study this city thoroughly. Sure. Bai Feng was acting very nonchalant. Yi Zichen walked a few hundred meters away from the city, then took out the city creation order. Ding. System has detected that a city can be built on this land. Would you like to build here? Confirm. The city creation order disappeared from Yi Zichen's hands. He clenched his fists and waited for a city to fall from the sky. It would be best if it didn't have any guards or generals. What the heck is this? Thatched huts, fences, and walls surrounded the city roughly 100 meters by 100 meters. The wooden door of the main gate was on the verge of collapse. This is King City? Yi Zichen's eyes widened in shock. Isn't this city a bit pitiful? What is this? Bai Feng twitched her mouth speechlessly. What can this defend against? Even the monsters are enough to tear down your house. Ding. Please sign your name for the city. Chaos. Congratulations on successfully building a city. System announcement will be made soon. Would you like to reveal your name? Not. Ding. Server announcement. Congratulations to a 2-character player in the Milky Way who is unwilling to reveal his name for successfully building a city. The name of the city is Chaos. F*CKU. Yi Zichen felt like his head was about to explode. The moment he sent the message, his private messages exploded. All of them were congratulatory messages. Nobody asked whether it was him or not. All of them were very certain that the person was Yi Zichen. F*CK. Does the Virtual World Corporation have a grudge against him? They're not revealing their names, but they still use 2 characters. Even an idiot knows it's him. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining a mythical level city general, Jin Jiuqi. Congratulations on obtaining 10 Imperial Guards. Just at this moment, a white-robed general walked out of the dilapidated first-rate city. Behind him were 10 guards. My lord. The white-robed general bowed towards Yi Zichen. My lord, please give your orders. Clear out the surrounding beasts and collect some city materials. Understood. The general ordered the guards, then charged towards the surrounding beasts. Yi Zichen let out a long sigh. He frowned as he looked at their back. What is it now? Bai Feng asked in confusion. I have a question. Yi Zichen looked at the generals and guards. Where did they come from? Yi Zichen had been puzzled by this question for a while now. If this was a virtual game, then Yi Zichen could understand their appearance. But this was the second universe. If the residents of the novice village are natives, then where did the NPCs of Yi Zichen's equipment shop and the city come from? Chapter 2190. The arrival of these people was rather abrupt. It just randomly appeared in front of Yi Zichen. If it was virtual data, building virtual data in the real world was too unimaginable. Moreover, the Virtual World Corporation had personally said that everything here was real. If these things were real, where did they come from? Were they natives here, or were they human experts from the first universe? Yi Zichen was confused. When he looked at Bai Feng, he saw that she was whistling at the sky, as if she hadn't heard anything. All right, it's fine if you don't know. There's no need to act like this. Yi Zichen smiled wryly. You little brat, don't you know how to leave some face for others? I am the leader of the 5 god clans, a venerable sovereign, do you understand? If I can't answer your question, then I'll lose face. Bai Feng pursed her lips and looked at Yi Zichen with hostility. I was wrong. Yi Zichen begged for mercy. Bai Feng looked over as well. I really don't know. No one knows what level the technology that the Virtual World Corporation has reached. I reckon that they might really be data. Why do you say that? It's just a guess. Bai Feng frowned. I'm not sure, but can't I guess? You might find it inconceivable to construct virtual data in the real world, but so do I. But if they confuse the universes, how hard would it be to build some virtual data in the real world? Yi Zichen found Bai Feng's words reasonable. Comparing the fusion of the universe and the construction of data, it was obvious that the former was more difficult. If that was the case, these guys are all data? Yi Zichen couldn't figure it out, but he didn't spend too much time thinking about it. He just looked at the pitiful city in front of him. What do you think we should do next? Don't ask others for everything. Can you think for yourself? White Phoenix shrugged. In the future, you and I will be leaders. I can't let others make decisions for you. I have an idea, which is, then do it. Bai Feng couldn't help but retort back at Yi Zichen. Originally, Yi Zichen had wanted to ask 100 Phoenix for advice. No matter what, she was the leader of the 5 god races. He wanted to hear if she had any better ideas. Little did they know, Bai Feng didn't know anything about these things. When she became the Fire Girl, she directly inherited everything of the Fire God clan. She had never experienced how a force operated in its early stages. Actually, Yi Zichen's thoughts were very simple. If he wanted to gain a foothold in the second universe, it would be best to recruit people in the second universe. One had to know, right now the world had not completely fused. No matter how strong the players of the first universe were in real life, they were just noobs here. NPC, however, they were all level 200 and above. This was the unique advantage that the NPCs had. No matter how many players they invited, they would just be a motley crew. However, it would be different if they invited a few NPCs. At least for the time being, the players were no match for him. Moreover, the competition for resources wasn't actually a competition with players, but with the natives. Didn't you hear the shark guy say? The village chief had already begun to occupy the resources. At that time, if there was a conflict over resources, with players' levels, even if they had an advantage in numbers, it would be very difficult for them to get the upper hand. You should know. This was no longer a game. Death is death. In the past, players could rely on their numbers and unlimited revivals to fight against NPCs. But now, that was no longer possible. No one was willing to die for Yi Zichen. To be able to do that, it would require the accumulation of several generations. Only then would they truly be willing to disregard their own lives for the benefit of their family. So I do envy NPCs. Even if they don't fight, it's good to intimidate each other. White Phoenix, come with me. Just as Yi Zichen was about to call White Phoenix back to the village, he noticed that White Phoenix was already sitting cross-legged on the ground. What are you doing? Leveling up. White Phoenix rolled her eyes. You couldn't have not noticed, right? We can already increase our strength by absorbing cosmic energy. Also, didn't you notice that levels have been removed? Yi Zichen looked towards his character future. Level 2 domain. What does that mean? Yi Zichen frowned. I'm really curious how you managed to survive for so long. White Phoenix couldn't help but retort. Don't you know how to familiarize yourself with the world before the game updates? Since the existence of the second universe has already been announced, then there's no need for levels to exist anymore. After all, everything has already been announced, right? The previous levels were a cover for the second universe. There's no need for the cover to be announced, so everything will naturally return to normal. That's not right. Yizichen frowned. The heavenly rankings still existed. Just now, Steelcase asked him to fight a dungeon. Killing monsters and dungeon monsters can also give you cosmic energy. Do you understand now? F***CK. The game changed so much. He actually didn't know. Ha ha. I really wouldn't have noticed if you didn't tell me, Yizichen laughed. Please be more serious, White Phoenix nearly kowtowed. Baifeng almost kowtowed. Inexplicably, the image of Yizichen appeared in his mind. It overlapped with the one in front of him. That person was also, he was always careless about certain things. He always said the same thing. I don't even know if it's real or fake. Is that so? I wouldn't have noticed if you didn't tell me. Ha 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 ha. Yizichen scratched his head. If White Phoenix didn't mention it, he really wouldn't have noticed such a change. That's enough, White Phoenix twitched his mouth. You definitely don't know, but the natives have already started to compete with the players of the first universe, right? What do you mean? The boss I stole just now was from the natives, White Phoenix said. Right now, they are no longer the NPCs that guide the players. Instead, they are competitors for us, the humans of the first universe, to obtain resources. They came out to fight monsters. Yizichen raised his eyebrows. That's right. You killed them all? That's right. How did you do it? Yizichen blinked. The natives' levels were much higher than the humans of the first universe. All of a sudden, Yizichen thought back to when White Phoenix killed the skinny guy. Just one slash. He didn't pay much attention to it at the time, but now that he thought about it, how did White Phoenix do it? Players would have to wait at least half a year before they could kill NPCs. Since the levels have been removed, the equipment level restriction has also been removed. Do you see the dagger in my hand? White Phoenix chucked the dagger towards Yizichen. Yizichen grabbed the dagger. Not long later, the dagger's level appeared in front of him. Star-Shattering Blade. Primordial Divine Artifact. Chapter 2191. Gulp. An ancient divine artifact. The fact that it had the title of a divine artifact meant that this dagger was not simple. Let me show you this. Another ring flew towards Yizichen. Tianyuan ring. An ancient divine artifact. And this, another shirt was chucked in front of Yizichen. The Phoenix Feather Robe. A heavenly god artifact. At that very moment, Yizichen was hit by another pair of shoes. Treading on the stars. An ancient divine artifact. Look at this, suddenly, Baifeng's hand reached towards her pants. Yizichen hurriedly reached out and grabbed her. What? I want to show you. Ancestor, please retract your mystic arts. Yizichen pressed down on Baifeng's arm. What's up with her? She took off her clothes and shoes. Does she have a tendency to expose herself? Hey, I have something to wear inside, Baifeng frowned. Then you can take it off. Yizichen returned all of White Phoenix's equipment to her without thinking. Hurry up and put on your clothes. Also, I'll put away your ring and dagger. If you lose them, don't come looking for me. I can't afford it. This was King Heavenly Deity Artifact, an ancient deity artifact. What are you doing? This was too much. Now you know why I was able to kill them. Our strength isn't enough, but our equipment is enough to crush them. White Phoenix proudly put on her robe again. I still have equipment that I haven't shown you. I even have a Genesis artifact. Why was this damned rich man showing off? He looked at his equipment, mortal dark gold grade. Do you know why I'm showing you these things? White Phoenix asked, her eyes wide open. Stop showing off, Yizichen twitched his mouth. That's what I'm thinking. No, why did I say it out loud? I have to act like an expert. Bai Feng coughed twice. I'm showing it to you to let you understand that you no longer have an absolute advantage. Why didn't I? Just as Yi Zichen was about to retort, he forcefully swallowed his words. Bai Feng wanted to tell him, those powerhouses might not have secret techniques here, and their strength was also very weak, but they had the advantage of equipment. With this advantage, they would be able to level up more efficiently. Are you afraid now? Bai Feng nudged Yi Zichen with her elbow and winked. Ha ha ha, I'm just scaring you. Huh! These items were hidden here before I came here. I dug them out after I got here, Bai Feng said with a smile. Are you alright, big sister? Yi Zichen truly wanted to laugh. He was also puzzled. Since the equipment could be brought in, why did Keck and the others still want him to fight the dungeon? All they had to do was use high-grade equipment to crush them. When Bai Feng said that, Yi Zichen relaxed. The only people who came from this universe were her, the two leaders, and the Milky Way Master. No one else had this advantage. I was just scaring you. You actually took it seriously? But I can see that you're a salted fish in reality. Bai Feng raised an eyebrow. You don't even have a title, do you? I'm only at the star level. Since they were going to meet soon, Yi Zichen didn't hide it. It's about the same as I thought. Bai Feng was not particularly surprised. From the moment I met you, I knew that you were a lucky guy with mediocre strength. How did you know? You're so happy for several tens of thousands of universe dollars. How strong can you be? If you're at least a titled level, who would care about that little bit of money? Bai Feng twitched her mouth. Yi Zichen felt like he really couldn't stay with Bai Feng any longer. This was too much of a blow. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes at her, then silently clenched his fists as he watched her laugh. I'll endure it. How were you so sure that you'd enter the Milky Way's novice village, or the Milky Way's novice village? I chose it myself, Bai Feng shrugged. Before entering the game, I went to find Big Sister Wenli. I told her that my equipment was buried here, so she told me to come here. A return sigil. The countdown began. Hey, what are you doing? Why did you run away? When Yi Zichen returned to the novice village, Bai Feng sent him a message. Ding dong. Ding dong. Angry? Why are you so petty? I want to keep a low profile, but my strength doesn't allow me to. Look at you. F***ck. For some reason, Yi Zichen felt sorry for the people of the Spiritual Wind Palace. Living with a master like that must be very tiring, right? I'm coming back to recruit. If you come, then return. I'll wait for you at the return point. Also, stop showing off in front of me. I'm a very jealous person, Yi Zichen frowned. You're the same as the master of the Milky Way, Bai Feng replied subconsciously. Yi Zichen stared blankly for a long, long time. The master of the Milky Way? The same? Not long later, Bai Feng used a return sigil to return to the novice village. I didn't do anything, I just, don't say anything. Bai Feng obediently shut her mouth and used her hand to make a zipper gesture over her mouth. She actually scolded a sovereign. This feels so good. Along the way, Bai Feng followed behind Yi Zichen without saying a single word. Yi Zichen wasn't used to it being so quiet. Bai Feng, do you think it's useful for me to hire a guest chamberlain? Bai Feng didn't reply for a long time. Then, not long later, you're not letting me speak. Bai Feng sent him a message in the game. Say it. Oh my, you scared me. Seriously, you were born too late. If you could meet the master of the Milky Way once, then you two would definitely regret not meeting each other earlier and directly become sworn brothers. Bai Feng said. Bai Feng, did you know? You're really like an onion. Yi Zichen looked at Bai Feng's expression. I didn't think you were so talkative before. Aren't we familiar? I'm just like that, Bai Feng shrugged. Then what do you think of my plan? Yi Zichen asked. No problem. Spending money to hire people is the simplest method. What else are you going to do? I didn't notice your charisma, said Bai Feng. It's fortunate that she's the spiritual phoenix. Otherwise, with her personality, who knows how many times she would have been beaten up. Every slash pierced his heart. You'll be called by Xiao Dao from now on. The master of the Milky Way said the same thing. He told me to change my name to Ling Xiao Dao. You two really are similar, but your strengths are worlds apart. What the F***ck? Yi Zichen let out a deep sigh, then walked into a nearby tavern. Why are you going into a tavern? Aren't you going to recruit? We haven't even reached the natives' village yet. Bai Feng, who'd been following behind him, started yelling again. Don't say anything, Yi Zichen sighed. Yi Zichen let out a deep sigh. I naturally have my reasons for coming. Just rest a bit, then go in and drink something to wet your throat. With that, Yi Zichen rubbed his eyes. I'm so tired. Chapter 2192. The tavern's business was booming as usual. What caught Yi Zichen's attention was that the tavern had always been filled with players. But this time, there seemed to be a lot more natives in the tavern. When they hid their names, many people would be unable to tell whether they were players or native. Yi Zichen could immediately tell that it was their clothes. Players wore all sorts of clothes because different equipment gave off different visual effects. The natives all wore black pants and red shirt. They also had a rope tied around their wrist. Yi Zichen wasn't sure why they did that, but he guessed that they wanted to use it to differentiate between players and native. As for why they wanted to differentiate so clearly, Yi Zichen wasn't too sure what they were planning. Not long after they entered the tavern, Yi Zichen felt several gazes look towards them, all of which came from the natives. Hey, don't, White Phoenix, who had been yelling, also felt that the atmosphere wasn't quite right after they entered the tavern. She swallowed her words and scanned the faces of the people in the tavern with squinted eyes. To her surprise, under Bai Feng's stare, the natives all lowered their heads and continued to drink and laugh with the people at the same table as if nothing had happened. Be careful, I feel like there's a problem. White Phoenix sent Yi Zichen a private message in the game. I know, Yi Zichen replied. These natives feel really weird. They seem to be purposely staring at us players. That's right, White Phoenix replied. The two of them conversed in silence, then walked up to the second floor of the tavern under the watchful eyes of the natives. After they went upstairs, the natives downstairs all let out a sigh of relief. That girl's eyes are so sharp. I was so scared that I almost peed my pants. F***ck. That woman's eyes are really murderous. She's definitely someone with hands covered in blood. Let's wait until she's not here when we make our move. We'll think about it when the time comes. The village chief told us to keep an eye on these natives. We'll just report them when we get back. The natives downstairs discussed amongst themselves. Many of them looked towards the second floor with a hint of wariness in their eyes. They were wary of White Phoenix, that pair of eyes that made people feel as if they had fallen into a cave of ice looked at them as if he was looking at a group of dead people. Compared to the first floor, the second floor seemed to have become the players' home court. Why are those NPCs staring at us? I don't know. It's like I owe them money. How uncomfortable. As the players whispered to each other, Yi Zichen also frowned. Looks like we're not the only ones being watched. Of course. Bai Feng smiled. What right do we have to make so many natives wait in the tavern? What exactly do they want? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes. Nothing good. Bai Feng frowned. Big Sister Wen Li's control over them should have been lifted. Otherwise, they wouldn't be like this. I technique? The natives here regard you as gods because of Big Sister Wen Li's eye technique, which is also a kind of illusion technique. It allows people to live in the real world, but in their hearts they worship you as gods, Bai Feng said. Control the entire second universe? Yes. Damn. The second and first universe both had 3,080 universe countries, and it was possible that the number of natives was much less than the first universe. It could cast illusions on the entire universe. Yi Zichen didn't even dare imagine such a method. Wait, why us? What about you? I am God. Bai Feng glared at her. When Big Sister Wenli cast the eye technique, I was there too. We are the gods in their hearts. But they didn't recognize you, God. Because I had a pimple on my face that day, so I had to wear a veil. Bai Feng frowned. Can't I? Alright, logically speaking, the pupillary technique can't be undone. The only way to undo it is for the caster to give up, or for someone more powerful than the caster to appear among the people being controlled, Bai Feng said, rubbing her chin. There's no way someone more ruthless than Big Sister Wenli can be born here. Suddenly, Bai Feng let out a long sigh and muttered to herself. Don't tell me he's drunk. What did you just say? Yi Zichen didn't catch Bai Feng's whisper. It's nothing. Bai Feng shook her head. It would have been fine if Wenli had solved it herself, but if not, he had to contact Big Sister Wenli as soon as possible. What did you come here for? Asked Bai Feng. Your Excellency, this. All of a sudden, Ada emerged from the tavern and waved his hand with a sly smile. I'm looking for him. Yi Zichen smiled at Bai Feng, then walked over to Ada with a sullen expression. Your Excellency, Ada grinned. Ada grinned. At his table, there were 4 stern-looking men and an old man with white sideburns. They are the experts I found for you, Ada grinned. Let me introduce you. This is Han Qing, Master Han. I specially invited him from another village. He's a star-level expert. Star-level? Yi Zichen looked at the elder in shock. It should be pointed out that only level 500 and above was a star level. This elder was actually an expert above level 500. Hello. Hello. The elder still maintained the airs of an expert and nodded at Yi Zichen. This is Elder Han's prize student, Xian Zhengnan. He's at the 8th stage. Ada pointed at the sunny youth. Hello. Hello, hello. The youth was much friendlier than the elder. He grabbed Yi Zichen's arm and swung it back and forth. I've heard Senior Ada talk about you many times. I finally get to meet you. Please take care of me in the future. No problem, Yi Zichen nodded. Zhengnan, don't speak so soon. We haven't agreed to work for him yet, frowned Han Qing. Ah. The youth nodded and sat down. Ada laughed, then pointed at the other 2. One had a square face while the other had no eyebrows. They were both experts at the 7th stage. These people were considered the cream of the crop among the players and NPCs at the moment. That was especially true of the star-level elder. Having him was worth more than an army of 10,000. Everyone, I'm Yi. I'm Future. Yi Zichen almost said his real name, so he hurriedly corrected himself. Then he looked at Bai Feng. This is my good friend, and also my partner in establishing a faction, Bai Feng. With that, Yi Zichen patted Bai Feng on the shoulder. Let's get to know each other. Give me some face. Hello, I'm Bai Feng. Nice to meet you. With that, Bai Feng busied herself with something else, as if she was absent-minded. Little did Yi Zichen know, Han Qing saw everything. When he saw Bai Feng's attitude, he couldn't help but snort coldly. Chapter 2193. Han Qing had a high reputation. Strength was status. Star-level strength was enough for Han Qing to be a bit arrogant. He was also quite famous in the surrounding villages. No matter where he went, everyone had to respectfully call him Elder Han. He was invited here by Atana. If it weren't for Atana's sake, he wouldn't even bother to come. Yi Zichen's attitude towards him was decent. His friend's perfunctory attitude made Han Qing feel very unhappy. A mere 2nd stage domain expert was nothing more than a bug in his eyes. Han Qing actually dared to not even look him in the eye. Who knew what he was thinking absent-mindedly? Yi Zichen also felt Han Qing's anger. In his heart, he really did want Han Qing to join him. No matter what star level, a big shot. With him around, the ice crystal mine would be much safer. Elder Han. Ha! Han Qing sneered. It seems like you aren't sincere about inviting me. Atana, I came purely because of you. I'm a bit tired, so I'll take my leave now. Elder Han, Yi Zichen grinned and stopped Han Qing. Don't be in such a hurry. I sincerely want to invite you over. How can you say that I'm not sincere? If you don't even have the slightest bit of etiquette, how can you talk about sincerity? Han Qing snorted. Understood. Yi Zichen nodded. Waiter, bring up all of your good wine and dishes. I want the best wine and the most expensive dishes. Han Qing sat back down, while Atana also walked over. Old Han, our family's lord is rich. If you follow him, you'll definitely live the rest of your life in luxury. Less than half an hour later, the tavern owner brought out all of the dishes. The table was filled with delicacies. This table cost at least several 100,000 star coins. Elder Han, let me toast you. Yi Zichen raised his cup. Han Qing subconsciously glanced at Bai Feng. Bai Feng returned to her senses and noticed Yi Zichen's cup. I'm not drinking. You guys drink. With that, Bai Feng went off to who knew what. Han Qing's expression grew increasingly unsightly. He suddenly placed his cup gently on the table. I wonder what the little girl is doing? Who's that? Who are you talking to? Bai Feng frowned. In an instant, Han Qing's face turned ashen, and his arms trembled slightly. South, let's go. Ah, master, there are so many dishes that I haven't eaten. Xian Zhengnan looked at the dishes on the table with pity. You only know how to eat. Have I not given you enough to eat? Let's go. Don't embarrass yourself outside, Han Qing scolded angrily. Old Han. Elder Han, Yi Zichen stood up with a smile. Please wait. You have no respect for your elders and have no manners at all. If you want me to stay, make this girl kneel down and apologize to me. Old man Han roared at Bai Feng. Yi Zichen's gaze instantly darkened and his smile faded. It's okay for him to be my grandson. He was the one who wanted to invite old Han over, but if Bai Feng was involved, get lost. Take care, I won't send you off. He didn't try to persuade Han Qing to stay any longer. The anger on Han Qing's face grew even more intense. He waved his hand and dragged Xian Zhengnan away. Old Han! Atana reached out and grabbed him, then ran to his side and said something. During that time, Atana continued to send Yi Zichen private messages. What? I went through a lot of trouble to invite him over. Don't you need an expert? Han Qing, a famous expert. Let him go. This geezer is too arrogant. Even if he lowers his head and stays, he'll still try to climb all over us in the future, Yi Zichen replied. At the same time, he toasted the two remaining 7th stage domain experts, then bumped into Bai Feng. What are you doing? Why are you so distracted? I'm contacting Big Sis Wenli, Bai Feng said. Wenli. Yi Zichen glared. Why are you contacting her? Ha ha ha. Suddenly, Han Qing, who had yet to leave, laughed loudly. Wenli, I nearly thought it was that god. That's her. What? Is there a problem? Bai Feng blinked at Han Qing. She had been contacting Wenli from the start, so she didn't know what had happened, nor did she know of Han Qing's existence. Who is he? You. Han Qing was furious. Bai Feng frowned. Don't point at me. Hurry up and retract your claws. I can't be bothered with you seeing how old you are. Xian Zhengnan and the other two people at the table all opened their eyes wide. Ever since Han Qing broke through to the star level, it had been a long time since someone dared to speak to him like that. Yi Zichen looked at Han Qing carefully. He noticed that he was already on the verge of exploding. Fine, fine, fine. Han Qing clenched his fist, causing all the bones in his body to crack. A surging pressure filled the tavern. Atana gulped, then retreated to the side. Xian Zhengnan tried to pull Han Qing's arm. Esteemed master! Little girl! Oh, you were the one who called me just now? Bai Feng suddenly raised her eyebrows. Didn't I tell you just now? Who's a little girl? I'm even older than your ancestors, you know? With that, Bai Feng looked towards Yi Zichen. Who is this geezer? Why does he look like he needs a beating? He's a star-level expert. I was going to ask him to be my subordinate, but I don't want him anymore, Yi Zichen shrugged. Star level. Bai Feng looked at Han Qing in surprise. Geezer, you're pretty good. Han Qing's face had already turned purple. Bai Feng twitched her mouth as if she didn't care, then looked towards Yi Zichen. Why wouldn't I? This geezer is pretty good. Star level. I can use him for a while. Keep him. Big sis, Yi Zichen smiled wryly. It's not that I don't want to keep him, it's that he doesn't want to. What can I do? Hit him. Bai Feng raised her eyebrows. If he doesn't accept it, then beat him until he does. Leave this to me. With that, Bai Feng put her hands on her hips and looked at Han Qing. Work hard for my little brother. Don't say I didn't warn you. When I attack, I won't hold back. If I break your old arms and legs, I won't pay for the medical fees. Ignorant brat. Han Qing couldn't take this insult any longer and attacked. Bai Feng sighed silently, then shook her head helplessly as Han Qing charged towards her. You won't listen. Then, Yi Zichen saw Bai Feng take out a pair of boxing gloves. Big sis, just how much equipment did you hide? Yi Chen had thought that one set would be enough for Bai Feng. He didn't expect to find boxing gloves as well. A lot, Bai Feng grinned. Then can you give me a few? They were all primordial divine artifacts and heavenly divine artifacts. Yi Zichen wanted to experience what it was like to be a big shot. Depends on my mood, Bai Feng cracked her neck. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. This geezer wants to beat me up, so watch me beat him up. Chapter 2194. What an arrogant junior! The moment Han Qing's voice faded away, a heavy pressure followed right after. The entire tavern creaked under Han Qing's pressure. In the tavern, be it the natives or the humans of the first universe, everyone looked over. What are you doing? A few experts rushed out of the tavern aggressively. But when they saw Han Qing, they all revealed a look of fear. Han Qing. Star rank. A few famous experts from the villages. Seeing that he was the one causing trouble, the tavern's thugs didn't dare to speak too harshly. Senior Han Qing, don't be afraid. Bai Feng shrugged nonchalantly. Aren't you afraid that the tavern will be destroyed? Let's go out and fight. Then, Bai Feng walked past Han Qing with his mouth twitched. Come, don't get in my way. If you're not convinced, let's go out and fight. You think I'm afraid of you? On the empty ground outside the tavern, Bai Feng pursed his lips. Now, in the middle, opposite him was Han Qing, who was already furious. A battle between players and NPCs. Many players rushed over when they heard about this. The natives knew that Han Qing, a top expert from a few villages, was going to fight with the deity, so they all rushed out. Old man. Bai Feng squinted his eyes and put his hands on his waist. Let's not fight for nothing. If I beat you into submission, you'll obediently work for my brother. How about that? Why not? Han Qing shouted angrily, if you lose, I won't lose. Bai Feng frowned and shook his head helplessly. If I lose to you, I'd rather die. Who is this person? How can she be so arrogant when talking to Han Qing? The surrounding natives whispered, doesn't she know that's Han Qing, a star rank? It's good to let Han Qing dampen the deity's spirit. Look, this deity is quite good-looking and has a good figure. It'll be a pity if he gets beaten to death. Anyway, the deity can be revived. The deity can't be revived. Really? There seemed to be quite a few natives who didn't know that the deity couldn't be revived. After knowing, their eyes were filled with fear. All along, the gods could be revived infinitely. Who would have thought that even the gods could not be revived? Boss, look. It's that woman. The resident in the tavern pointed at White Phoenix. I know. The leader nodded. Stay and take a look. What's there to see? That's Han Qing. That woman is dead for sure. Not necessarily. The leader still shook his head. He felt that White Phoenix was not simple. Those who dared to clamor at Han Qing were either truly capable, or they were a stupid donkey. He did not believe that White Phoenix was the latter. Let's wait and see. More and more people gathered around Bai Feng and Han Qing's match. Yi Zichen noticed that there were people opening bets, as if they were betting on the outcome of the match. Many people were placing bets over there. Athana also ran back at this time. You went to bet? Just now, Yi Zichen seemed to have seen Athana's figure at the betting area. He couldn't help but ask when he saw him return. Hee. Athana scratched his head. Who did you bet on? Asked Yi Zichen. Of course it's your friend. Athana patted his chest. You're my boss. How could I possibly bet on Han Qing? I bet on your friend to win. Of course. You're pretty smart. Yi Zichen nodded in satisfaction. If Athana really did bet on White Phoenix, then he would win for sure. Although White Phoenix was weak, she was well equipped. With that equipment, forget about the star level, even a universe level might not be able to beat her. What are the odds? Asked Yi Zichen. Han Qing is 0. 1. Your friend is 10, said Athana. Who opened the betting area? How much money do they have? Is it reliable? It's definitely reliable. It has a lot of money to begin with. Go and bet 100 million for me. Yi Zichen took out 1,000,000 galaxy credits. Bet on my friend to win. Are you sure? Hurry up. Yi Zichen urged. He was actually just trying to cheer things up a bit. He still had a few dozen universe credits on hand, which was equivalent to a few billion galaxy credit. He was afraid that the opening bet wouldn't be enough. If he couldn't afford it, then he might as well just bet a bit for fun. Athana hurried over with the money. As he was being held, it was clear that he was conflicted. He glanced over at Yi Zichen from time to time. After a long while, he tossed the bag of money down. I'll bet, said Athana. The odds haven't changed, have they? Nope. Just wait to win big. I'll give you 20%. Yi Zichen patted Athana's shoulder. Future bro, do you think your friend can win? Xen Zhengnan walked over with a chicken leg in his hand. My master is a second stage star level. Kid, your master is going to lose for sure. Really? Yi Zichen patted Xen Zhengnan's shoulder, giving him a heads up. When the time comes, make sure to comfort your master. During this time, neither Han Qing nor White Phoenix made a move. It was as if they were intentionally stalling for time and waiting for the surrounding spectators to place their bet. Yi Zichen stood at the very front, relaxed. Xien Zhengnan bit into a chicken leg and frowned as he looked at his master and White Phoenix. He actually didn't quite believe that his master would lose. The difference in strength was too great. What's more, his master had a star-level purple-gold artifact. You have to win, I'm betting 100 million on you. Yi Zichen sent White Phoenix a private message. White Phoenix, who was standing in the middle, turned around with a smile and made a peace sign towards Yi Zichen. Don't worry, Big Sis will definitely win for you. The moment the message arrived, White Phoenix raised her eyebrows and pointed at Han Qing. Are you ready? I've been waiting for you for a long time. Ignorant Junior, why would this old man need you? You can go ahead, Han Qing glared angrily. Don't, I have to respect the old and love the young. White Phoenix rubbed her eyes. Come on, I'll let you make 3 moves first. Let me make 3 moves first. The natives were all shocked when they heard that. Was this deity in front of them crazy? This was Han Qing. He was the one who let other people win, but this deity was actually going to let Han Qing make 3 moves first? White Phoenix looked completely normal. She was going to be beaten to death by Han Qing in 3 moves, right? Ugh, Yi Zichen nearly couldn't hold it in. This White Phoenix really was a girl who liked to show off to the bone. Come on, hit me. Do you think 3 moves is too little? You're so greedy. Fine, I'll let you make 5 moves first. How about this? I'll put my hands behind my back as well. I won't even move, okay? As she spoke, White Phoenix put her hands behind her back. This geezer, he's so smart. You! Han Qing was so angry that his hands couldn't help but tremble. At that moment, a raging inferno burned in his heart, burning away what little rationality he had left. Are you going to come or not? Can't you get old already? You're pissing me off. Han Qing roared, then sent out a gust of wind from his palms. Junior die. Chapter 2195. The battle they'd been waiting for finally began. Han Qing pushed forward with his palms. His palms surged with the force of a tsunami, scattering the surrounding sand and stones. Seal! The village's experts set up a sealing barrier around the perimeter. Han Qing was a star-level expert, after all. If he unleashed his cosmic power, he wouldn't raze the village to the ground, but at least half of it would be destroyed. A full 20 of the village's experts formed hand seals back and forth. Yi Zichen silently watched. It seemed there were quite a few experts in the village. The ones forming hand seals were all experts at the 6th level or higher. In terms of levels, they were all around level 300. These people definitely weren't the village's strongest. Competing with them for resources wouldn't be easy at all. Fortunately, after this battle, if Han Qing kept his word, he'd join Yi Zichen's upheaval alliance. With Han Qing's reputation, it would be much easier to recruit other experts. So this is the power of a star-level expert. The native swallowed his saliva and looked at the scene in front of him. Although there seemed to be only a single step between the domain level and the star level, when they attacked, the difference was as vast as heaven and earth. Under Han Qing's control, vast amounts of cosmic energy surged forth. It was like a ferocious tiger breaking free of its cage. Accompanied by the thunderous roar of a tiger, a ferocious tiger condensed from the energy of the universe rushed towards Bai Feng. Why isn't the deity attacking yet? Is she really going to beat Han Qing? Was she just trying to provoke him? When they saw that Bai Feng hadn't moved, the natives were astonished. They thought Bai Feng had said that on purpose to provoke Han Qing into attacking in his anger. Anger could devour a person's rationality. That way, he'd make many mistakes. So long as he grasped those mistakes, victory wasn't impossible. Judging from the current situation, Bai Feng had succeeded. Han Qing was about to go mad with anger. His attacks were completely random, and his entire body was full of openings. Right now, he was purely manipulating cosmic energy in an attempt to crush his opponent to death. Unfortunately, the deity didn't respond at all. After all, anger could make a person lose their rationality, but it could also multiply their strength. Anger was actually a double-edged sword. Could it be that he's scared silly? One of the natives muttered, when Han Qing is enraged, he might even be able to release the cosmic energy of the 3rd to 4th level of the star realm. Maybe that deity didn't expect Han Qing to be so ruthless and was so frightened that he didn't know how to retaliate. It's possible. As soon as this statement was made, everyone agreed with it. Not to mention the God Nation in the middle. If any of them were to be thrown up there and faced with Han Qing's aura, they would also be frightened to the point of not knowing what to do. Oh no, my master is really angry now. Xian Jingnan's eyes widened. He even forgot to eat the chicken drumstick in his hand. Future brother, hurry up and let your friend escape. Eat your food properly, Yi Zichen smiled. Who did they think Bai Feng was? She was the leader of the 5 god clans, the Fire God clan. What kind of storms and waves had she not seen before? If she was scared by such a small matter, she could forget about being a venerable. Since that was the case, she naturally had nothing to fear. Junior! Han Qing shouted angrily, and the ferocious tiger roared. Boom! Countless people subconsciously covered their eyes, afraid to see a pool of blood. Many natives were excited and shouted loudly. That's one move. At that moment, a playful voice sounded out from the dust. Then, everyone saw that Bai Feng stood in place calmly. Not only did Han Qing's palm not hurt her, it didn't even tear the hem of her clothes. She didn't even take half a step back. She gently patted the dust off her body and reached out. Again. What? Countless natives opened their eyes wide. Just what was going on? This god nation actually didn't die. That was Han Qing. There weren't many in the surrounding villages who could withstand his palm. How could he be unharmed? F***ck. Xian Jingnan was also shocked. Future brother, this friend of yours. I already told you, your master is definitely going to lose. Yi Zichen smiled confidently. May I ask how strong your friend is? Second level domain. Domain. Xian Jingnan opened his mouth. Domain level? Don't joke around. My master is at the star level. Even a peak domain expert wouldn't dare to take his palm head-on. Do you know what rich people are? Yi Zichen asked. I do, those rich merchants, Xian Jingnan nodded. My master said that wealth is just a worldly possession. They seem to be rich, but they aren't happy at all. You're still too young. Yi Zichen patted Xian Jingnan's shoulders. You can't understand the happiness of rich people. Why do you say that? Xian Jingnan was confused. Master said that those rich merchants would give up everything for wealth. Do you see my friend? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows towards Bai Feng. She's at the second level of domain, but she can bully your master at the star level. Why? That's the power of money. Not to mention your master, even if your master's ancestors were to come, it would be useless against her. With that, Yi Zichen looked at Bai Feng, who was standing in the middle and beckoning towards Han Qing. You can do whatever you want when you have money. While Yi Zichen was teaching Xian Jingnan, Ada's face was extremely pale. His hands gripped his clothes tightly, while sweat continuously dripped down his forehead. What happened to you? Yi Zichen asked when he noticed Ada's expression. And nothing. Boss, your friend is so fierce, Ada grinned. Of course, just wait for the money, Yi Zichen said. Keep an eye on that guy who opened the bet. I think he's going to run. Don't let him get away. $1 billion is enough to spend for a long time. If you put in some effort, I'll give you 20%. Okay. Han Qing, who was standing in the competition area, revealed a look of shock. No one knew better than him just how powerful his palm was. He was completely unharmed. Come on, old man, why are you so old and useless? Hurry up and do your best. I haven't had my fun yet. Bai Feng reached out and shouted. Yi Zichen's expression darkened. Was he thinking too much? Why did he feel like Bai Feng's words were so ambiguous? Come on, old man, hit me. Bai Feng put his hands on his hip. His arrogance could be said to have reached the heavens. Youngster, I don't care what methods you used. Whoosh, a silver longsword suddenly appeared in Han Qing's hands. You have no respect for your elders. I must properly teach you a lesson today. I'll let you know what proper etiquette is. What a coincidence. Bai Feng shrugged with a relaxed expression. It just so happens that I want to teach you a lesson as well. I'll let you know that there are always people better than you out there. I'll save you the trouble of looking at the sky from the bottom of a well. Chapter 2196. Insolence. Han Qing's expression was steely. The sword in his hand let out a resonant hum. It's appeared. Han Qing's flying snow sword. When the natives saw the sword in Han Qing's hand, they gasped in shock. When Han Qing obtained the sword, he'd battled dozens of peak domain experts and several star-level experts. In the end, the flying snow sword landed in his hand. Han Qing also relied on that battle to become famous. He was already strong, and now he had a star-level weapon, the flying snow sword. No one in the surrounding villages dared challenge him. That deity has some tricks up his sleeve. He made Han Qing take out the flying snow sword, said one of the natives who'd been staring at Yi Zichen. If he takes out the flying snow sword, Han Qing will win for sure. As his subordinates discussed, only their leader remained silent. He looked at them silently and listened to their discussion. In his heart, however, he couldn't help but shake his head. Could he win? Han Qing didn't have much confidence in himself. At the start, Han Qing hadn't held back at all. Even so, He hadn't made his opponent retreat even half a step. So what if he had the flying snow sword? The other party's strength was definitely inferior to his, but the equipment on his body still crushed him. He had no chance of winning this battle. His current persistence was all for the sake of his own pride. Even if he could injure his opponent in the slightest, he'd have a way out of this embarrassing situation. To think there was someone like this among the deities. Could it be that the gods had specifically instructed her to come here in order to use this opportunity to teach the natives a lesson? These past few days, the natives had been making huge movements. The leader's mind raced. He was conflicted over whether or not the village's decision was the right one. Flying snow. Han Qing gripped his longsword and charged forward. The tips of his feet touched the ground, and he seemed to become one with the weapon in his hand. One with the world? White Phoenix, who was standing at the front, narrowed her eyes. Don't be fooled by her domineering words. In truth, she'd been secretly observing Han Qing's talent. To tell the truth, his first attack was nothing special. But there was nothing that surprised Bai Feng. This time, Bai Feng's sword had piqued her interest a little. Ding! Sword Qi was released and landed on Bai Feng's head. At this moment, the hairband on her bun flashed and blocked all the sword Qi. It's the second move. Bai Feng's hands were still on her hips. Han Qing was panting heavily. He gripped his longsword tightly as he looked forward, filled with unwillingness. This sword is not bad. Old man, you have some talent in martial arts. Unfortunately, if this is all you have, then you are still far from it. You, what do you know? Han Qing angrily rebuked. I don't need you to lecture me. Watch my sword. Xiao xiao xiao, wave after wave of sword Qi shot out from Han Qing's sword. The experts of the village outside the barrier could not help but cough up blood. Some of them were unable to withstand the sword Qi that Han Qing had released. 5 moves are up. White Phoenix twisted her neck and stretched her arms and legs. You disappoint me. I thought you could give me more surprises. Bai Feng clenched her fists as she looked at Han Qing. I'm coming. You better hold on. After saying those words, Bai Feng suddenly disappeared from everyone's sight. By the time she reappeared, her gloved fist was already at Han Qing's chin. Eat my fist. Dong. In an instant, Han Qing was sent flying. Soon after, Bai Feng chased after Han Qing. She grabbed Han Qing's calf in the air and spun him around like a spinning top. Ding dong, ding dong. TCH, TCH, TC. That's a bit too vicious. I even lost my teeth from that punch. Great aunt, be gentle. Don't kill him. Yi Zichen's eyelids twitched, while Xian Zhengnan and Atano were completely shocked. A star-level expert had been beaten like this. It must be fake. The natives all tensed up and held their breath. Han Qing had been used as a punching bag. Do you give up? Bai Feng pressed down on Han Qing's head. Before he could speak, she punched him again. It looks to me like you don't give up. Big sis, give me some time to convince myself. Yi Zichen smiled wryly, but before long, he frowned. Bai Feng. It didn't seem like she was hitting Han Qing. Master. Xian Zhengnan couldn't stand it any longer and wanted to attack, but Yi Zichen stopped him. What? You want to break the rules? Your master agreed to this competition. You want to go in now? Do you think we don't exist? Future bro, my master is about to be beaten to death. Xian Zhengnan frowned. He won't die. You and him have to work for me in the future. My big sis knows how to hold back, so he definitely won't die, said Yi Zichen. I know I'm no match for you, but don't get cocky. I told you, you can't understand the happiness of being rich. It just so happens that I'm rich too. Xian Zhengnan clenched his teeth and retreated. Yi Zichen stared at Bai Feng's fist in silence. I really don't know what you're showing off for. Do you give up or not? Bai Feng grabbed Han Qing by the neck. Han Qing tilted his head in surprise. You still have the nerve to look at me? Bai Feng swung her hand and threw another punch, grabbing the long sword that had fallen to the ground beside Han Qing. You think you're worthy of using a sword? All of a sudden, Bai Feng casually swung the longsword. There was no sword energy in the strike, but Han Qing's eyes were filled with passion when he saw it. He looked towards Bai Feng with respect. I'm asking you, do you give up or not? I give up. Han Qing nodded heavily. Bai Feng twitched her mouth and let go. At least you know what's good for you. No one had expected such an ending. The eyes of the natives were filled with fear. Han Qing lost. He gave up. He was a stubborn person. Even when he was surrounded by several tens of experts and on the verge of death, he never gave up. Now he actually, do you see that? That was easy. Bai Feng ran back with a giggle and put her hands on her waist. That was awesome. Massage my waist for a bit. Master. Xian Zhengnan ran in the instant the fight ended. He wanted to see Han Qing's situation, but he didn't expect Han Qing's body to be even more spirited than before, despite the slight injuries on his face. Han Qing pushed Xian Zhengnan away and hurriedly ran over. What? You still want to fight? Don't even think about it. You're not my match at all. The natives who were about to leave also stopped in their track. They wanted to see if there was still a show to watch. Han Qing was beaten up so badly. Perhaps he really was unwilling to give up and wanted to fight. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Just as Bai Feng waved her hand, Han Qing knelt onto the ground and kowtowed. Please accept me, Han Qing, as your disciple. I, Han Qing, will definitely treat you like a teacher and student from now on. I will never betray you. Chapter 2197. Dumbfounded. The natives who didn't leave stared at this scene in a daze. Han Qing, star-ranked, the great senior of countless people, actually wanted to worship a deity as his master, and he even had to kneel down. I understand. Han Qing wants to be the dog of the deity, he wants to betray us. Someone among the natives shouted. Many people were shocked when they heard this, but they didn't say anything. No matter what, in the hearts of most of the natives, the deity was indeed a level higher than them. This was the warning that Wenli cast on them. Even though the illusion had disappeared, they still didn't dare to disobey. After the illusion was lifted, the natives of the second universe could be roughly divided into three types. The first type was still following the words of the deity, scrupulously abiding by their duties, and being in awe of the deity. The second type was a neutral state, neither side was biased, they accepted the entry of the deity, and they didn't have too much malice towards the deity, they didn't affect each other's development. The third type was the radicals. After the illusion was lifted, the idea of sticking together became stronger, and they rejected the deity from the bottom of their hearts. They even viewed the deity as enemies. Han Qing, traitor. Becoming the dog of the deity, bah! Traitor! Traitor! The surrounding people scolded Han Qing, but Han Qing acted as if he didn't hear anything, waiting for Bai Feng's reply. I don't accept disciples. Facing Han Qing's sincere request, Bai Feng lightly shrugged. You just need to work hard for the future, don't think about becoming my disciple. Ever since Han Qing became her disciple, Xian Zhengnan's imagination ran wild. If Bai Feng really accepted his master as a disciple, then he would have to call Bai Feng Grandmaster. Both of them looked about the same age. He was still somewhat resistant in his heart. Only when Bai Feng rejected did he let out a deep breath, but he was a little surprised that she actually didn't accept Han Qing. Didn't she know Han Qing's status? If she could accept him as a disciple, Bai Feng's status in the surrounding villages would also improve a lot. Sigh, Han Qing, who was kneeling on the ground, sighed deeply. But he didn't continue to pester me, and patted the dust on his knees. Actually, he had already thought from the beginning that she wouldn't accept him as a disciple. His aptitude was too poor. However, he did not want to give up this opportunity and wanted to give it a try. Unfortunately, there was no surprise or miracle in the end. I will serve you well in the future. Han Qing cupped his fists. Let's get rid of those salted fishes. Make them shut their mouth. Listening to them is annoying. Bai Feng raised an eyebrow at the mob around her. Han Qing nodded and faced the mob. Ha ha ha, Han Qing, you're so pitiful. You're kneeling on the ground in such a subservient manner. It's a pity that he doesn't accept you. You're a star-level master, yet you're so shameless. Boom! Right at this moment, a streak of sword chi suddenly slashed the ground, creating a deep pit that was dozens of meters long. The mobs who were sneering at Han Qing all shut their mouths in fear. After a few seconds of silence, the rioters shouted angrily with bloodshot eyes. Han Qing, you traitor! You still want to kill us for the sake of those foreign divine citizens? Traitor! Traitor! All of you, shut up! There was another loud boom. Han Qing held the flying snow sword in his hand. If anyone dares to slander my lord again, don't blame me for being merciless. He swung his sword and returned it to its sheath. It's up to me who I want to follow. What right do you have to tell me what to do? If anyone can't accept this, feel free to step forward. Let's see if you have the right to criticize me. When he said this, the crowd fell silent out of fear. The mob could incite, but if they really fought, who would dare? Fight Han Qing? No one dared. Regardless of whether or not he'd lost to Bai Feng, Han Qing was a bona fide star-level expert. Everyone was well aware of this. When he saw that no one dared step forward, Han Qing snorted angrily. You're all good with words, but you don't have any real skills. I, Han Qing, wholeheartedly accept my defeat, and I'm willing to abide by my promise. In the future. Suddenly, Han Qing paused and looked at Yi Zichen. What's the name of our sect? Where is it located? The Upheaval Alliance's headquarters are in the Fire Mountain Forest, said Yi Zichen. In the future, if anyone dares provoke the Upheaval Alliance, they're making an enemy of me. If anyone can't accept this, or if you have a grudge against me, feel free to seek me out at the Volcanic Forest Alliance. I, Han Qing, will accompany you to the end. Han Qing glanced coldly at the surrounding natives, then turned around. You make it sound like you're trying to make a comeback, but you're still calling me a deity. In terms of servility, it seems you're even worse. With that, Han Qing walked up to Yi Zichen. Your Excellency, from now on, Han Qing swears loyalty and devotion to you. I'll never betray you. Me too. Xian Zhengnan ran up to him. He'd followed Han Qing since he was a child. Wherever Han Qing went, he went. If Han Qing wanted to join the Upheaval Alliance, he'd naturally join as well. Us too. The two seventh-layer domain experts from before knelt down as well. Han Qing's strength was more than enough to establish his own sect, but he disliked such things. He'd always wandered about without a place to settle down. Now, he'd joined the Upheaval Alliance. More importantly, the Upheaval Alliance had an expert who could beat Han Qing to the point where he couldn't even fight back. If he could join a faction like this, he had a backer like this. His future absolutely wouldn't be bad. All right. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile, then helped the others to their feet. Atta Na. Boss. Atta Na's face paled. Go to the dealer and withdraw your money. I'm in a good mood today, so I'll split this 1 billion with you guys. 200 million each, said Yi Zichen with a smile. Your Excellency, that's too much. Han Qing and the others waved their hands. It's fine. You might not understand me. Although I'm not some rich or powerful person, I'm not stingy with my own people, laughed Yi Zichen. Consider this 200 million a greeting gift. If you need anything in the future, just tell me. I'll do my best to satisfy you. As he spoke, Yi Zichen urged Atta to hurry up. Hurry up and go. Boss, you go by yourself. This is too much money. I'm afraid to withdraw it, grinned Atta. Yi Zichen was in a great mood after taking Han Qing and the others under his command. He didn't say anything else to Atta. Instead, he grinned and walked over to the dealer. With the White Phoenix present, he doubted they'd dare cheat him. A few minutes later, Yi Zichen returned, his expression dark. What's wrong? They don't want to pay? White Phoenix tugged at her sleeves. If they had the guts, watch me beat them up. I'll go, said Han Qing. Han Qing spoke, holding the long sword in his hand. Don't go. Yi Zichen took a deep breath, then called Han Qing and White Phoenix to a halt. He took a deep breath, then looked around. He discovered that Ada Na was long gone. Yi Zichen turned to Xian Zhengnan and the others and shouted, Bring Ada Na back. Chapter 2198. Truly amazing. Yi Zichen nearly laughed out of anger at Ada. Yi Zichen squatted outside the village and waited for Xian Zhengnan and company to bring Ada back. About half an hour later, Ada was brought in front of Yi Zichen by Xian Zhengnan. When he saw Yi Zichen squatting on the ground, Ada gulped. Boss! Where did you go? Yi Zichen looked up. My stomach isn't feeling too good, so I went to find a place to relieve myself, Ada smiled. Oh. Yi Zichen nodded. Ada couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat as he clenched his fist. Boss, I was wrong. Where? Yi Zichen frowned. Boss, I was actually just being kind. Ada scratched his head with a wry smile. Ada scratched his head and bitterly smiled. Your friend has only comprehended the second level. If he were to compete with Han Qing, he would definitely think that Han Qing would win. I was thinking of ways to cut your losses. You bet on Han Qing? Ah. Everyone else remained silent. They knew that Yi Zichen had just bet 100 million. Even if it was Stardust coins, it was definitely not a small amount. What's more, changing the master's mind was a huge taboo for a subordinate. How do you think I should deal with it? Yi Zichen tilted his head. I'll work for you to pay off your debt. Before I pay off the 100 million, I won't charge you to appraise the rune stones, Ada smiled. 1 billion. Yi Zichen half opened his eyes. You understand what I mean. I understand. Ada clenched his teeth and nodded. All right, then let's do that. Remember, you owe me 1 billion. Yi Zichen patted Ada's shoulder and took out his money pouch. This is the 200 million I said just now. I said I'll give it to you, so I'll definitely give it to you. Sire. Ada held the money pouch with a hint of surprise in his eyes. If you did something wrong, then you have to bear the consequences. You have to be rewarded when you deserve it. Take it. Ada blanked out for a long time as he looked at Yi Zichen's departing figure. After a long while, he finally held the money pouch tightly. He quickly chased after him. In front of the ice crystal mine, Han Qing and company stood in front of the mine and looked at the ice crystal mine in shock. Sire, this is ice crystal mine. You guys should know about it, right? Yi Zichen asked. Han Qing and the others nodded in agreement. Elemental crystal mines. Naturally, they all knew each other. The ice crystal mine was a variant of the water elemental crystal mine. Compared to the elements, it was rarer and more expensive. This ice crystal mine, a palm-sized piece, could be sold for a price of trillions. If the breed was pure, the price might be even higher. Crystal mine like this was enough to support a large family. No one else knows about this crystal mine yet. I need you to excavate it as soon as possible, said Yi Zichen. My lord, there might be some trouble. Han Qing frowned. What? The cold air in the ice crystal mine is too strong. If we don't have special mining tools, I'm afraid it will be very difficult to mine. That's not a problem. Yi Zichen nodded, then said to Han Qing. I've already sent people to manufacture the equipment to mine the ice crystal mine. I've asked all of you to come here to keep an eye on the ice crystal mine. If anyone has any ill intentions towards the ice crystal mine, this subordinate understands, Han Qing replied. There was no need for Yi Zichen to explain. Such an ice crystal mine, regardless of whether there was a vein inside or not, just the fact that there was an ice crystal mine protruding out from the ground. The amount of ice crystals it could produce was astonishing. Any family that saw it would go green with envy and fight over it. Fighting would be inevitable. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble. Kill. Kill everyone who knew about the mine and prevent anyone else from entering. That was the best way to solve this problem. Here's 20 million galactic dollars. Yi Zichen took out a pouch of money and placed it in Han Qing's hands. You'll be in charge of selecting the miners and recruiting other experts. Your Excellency, you're the core of our upheaval alliance. I hereby appoint you as an elder. Don't let me down. Yes, my lord. Han Qing nodded solemnly. Bai Feng shrugged and walked over. Work hard. If you do well, I'll teach you a few moves. I won't let you down. Han Qing's eyes reddened. Yi Zichen's words were to let him know that he shouldered a heavy responsibility and was working hard, but Bai Feng's words only added fuel to the fire. Following Yi Zichen really was the right choice. Although he couldn't take Bai Feng as his master, staying by her side every day and learning a few moves was good enough. Work hard. Yi Zichen patted Han Qing on the shoulder. If you have any problems, contact me directly. Go to the village's equipment store and ask Chicano for the mining tools. Yes, sir. I'll leave this place to you. With that, Bai Feng and Yi Zichen left, shoulder to shoulder. With Han Qing on guard, Yi Zichen could relax a little about the ice crystal mine. Even if someone found out Han Qing was a star-level cultivator, even if the village head's subordinates were envious of him, they'd have to think twice before going up against him. Furthermore, there was also Bai Feng, the female overlord. If anyone dared defy her, she'd crush them with her equipment. You were acting like that just now, laughed Bai Feng when she recalled Yi Zichen's behavior. That's no good either. In truth, Yi Zichen really wasn't much of a manager. Normally, he didn't have to do much. When it came to actual management, it was Xiao Yumei who did it. Back on Earth, she'd been in charge. Yi Zichen didn't know when they'd reach the domain level. When that happened, even if they stayed on Earth, they could share some of his burden in the virtual world. A single log cannot support a ship. It was too tiring for him to travel alone. That's more or less enough. That's what a leader should be like. Leave the trivial matters to your subordinate. What does a leader have to do? Charge and break through enemy lines. Whoever bullies your subordinates, you have to beat them back. Bai Feng tugged at her sleeves. I've always been doing this. I'm not bragging at all. Right now, there are at least 8,000 overlords who have been beaten up by me. Even now, they're still showing off when they see my legs. Sis is mighty. Yi Zichen bowed. Follow me and no one will dare to bully you. Bai Feng smiled and clapped her hands. By the way, where are you taking me? I'm going to a good place. Yi Zichen grinned and looked at Bai Feng. Your resistance to the fire element is very high, right? Of course, I'm Fire Lady. As long as the fire elemental spirits are not mature, they can't hurt me, White Phoenix shrugged. That's great, Yi Zichen rubbed his hands. I'm going to take you to the land of elements. Where? The land of fire element. There might even be elemental spirits inside. Chapter 2199. Land of Elements? Even Bai Feng, who was experienced and knowledgeable, had a look of fear in her eyes when she heard about the elemental lands. You're not joking with me, right? No, really. Yi Zichen nodded seriously. If that's the case, why are you telling me this? White Phoenix frowned. Don't you know what the elemental land represents? You actually dared to say it out loud, and you even said that there were elemental spirit. He could tell from Bai Feng's expression that she was very serious. She exhaled deeply and narrowed her eyes. Elemental spirit. Even an overlord would be greedy. Don't think that just because I'm from the 5 god clans, I don't have any desires for elemental spirit. Aren't you afraid that I'll kill you if I find out? Aren't you a little too stupid? How could you tell an outsider about this? If it was anyone else, they would definitely hide it. Yi Zichen couldn't help but laugh when he saw Bai Feng's solemn expression. You still have the nerve to smile? Bai Feng was so angry that she almost jumped up. I'm serious. Will you kill me? Asked Yi Zichen. Of course. Bai Feng frowned, then glared fiercely at Yi Zichen. I'm telling you, you're dead for sure. We're in the middle of nowhere. Even if I kill you, no one will come and collect your corpse. Then please bury it for me, Yi Zichen shrugged. Their eyes met. White Phoenix gripped her dagger tightly, looking as if she was really going to make a move. Yi Zichen silently closed his eyes and made no attempt to resist. Forget it, I'll spare your life for now. Bai Feng slowly sheathed her dagger and pursed her lips. If you kill him, I won't be able to relieve my boredom. Besides, I haven't gone in yet. Once you bring me in, I'll kill you. All right. Yi Zichen shrugged. Little did they know, Yi Zichen had struggled with his decision for a long time. He was also wondering if the White Phoenix would kill him for the Land of Element. In the end, he decided to believe in White Phoenix. During their time together, Yi Zichen had come to believe that Bai Feng was trustworthy. Moreover, Bai Feng had helped him a lot during this period. If she really needed a fire elemental sprite, he would give it to her. The affection between brothers. It couldn't be measured by these external objects. A few minutes later, Yi Zichen arrived at the coordinates Bai Sei had brought him to. Left and right. Ding, you have entered a special map. In an instant, the scene in front of him changed. The entire world was a sea of flames. As far as the eye could see, everything was a sea of red. The ground was scorching hot from the high temperature. There was a sizzling sound when one stepped on it, and there were wisps of white smoke. F***ck. It really is a land of elements. Even the fire elemental sprite hesitated for a while before it could confirm its identity. As soon as Bai Feng entered, she was sure that this was the land of element. Kid, your luck is pretty good. You actually found this kind of place. Previously, I, the Milky Way Master, Wen Li, and Blue Emperor searched for a long time and found an elemental land. It was an abandoned land with no elemental spirit. Something's wrong. Suddenly, Bai Feng frowned. Yi Zichen thought that Bai Feng wanted to say that this wasn't the land of element. You actually dared to bring me in. White Phoenix tugged at her sleeves. Aren't you afraid that I'll kill you? Kid, you've got guts. Do you believe me when I say that I'll stab you? Alright, would you really kill me? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Bai Feng pursed her lips and didn't say anything for a long time. I trust you, Yi Zichen smiled at Bai Feng. Yi Zichen smiled at Bai Feng. Someone else brought me here. She doesn't know that this is the land of element. Of course. Bai Feng nodded heavily. He's definitely an idiot if he still brought you here despite knowing this is the land of elements. As she spoke, Bai Feng intentionally glanced at Yi Zichen. She emphasized the word idiot a lot. Heh. Yi Zichen knew what Bai Feng meant, so he didn't argue. How are you sure this is the land of elements? I live here. Bai Feng rolled her eyes. Bai Feng rolled her eyes. Fire phoenixes are favored by the fire element. They were born in the elemental lands. The guardian deity of our clan is the fire elemental Spirit King. Spirit King? Yeah, Bai Feng nodded. It's just that the Spirit King hasn't been here for a long time. I don't know where she went. In any case, she disappeared after I received the inheritance. Damn. Yi Zichen was completely shocked. Then, let me ask you, are the other 4 divine races also elementals? That's right. Bai Feng nodded. Ice Fox, Lightning Tiger, Lightning Ox, Wind Sparrow. The 4 guardian deities are the 4 elemental spirit kings. Wow! Yi Zichen couldn't help but open his mouth wide. What's the point of telling you this? Star-level trash. Bai Feng twitched her mouth. Bai Feng curled her lips. You're quite lucky. Your strength isn't that great, but your fate is pretty good. Is that a compliment? If you think so, Bai Feng looked around. The elements here aren't very dense. It shouldn't be like this if there are elemental spirits here. Bai Feng was in the spiritual Phoenix Palace. The fire element was so dense that one could feel it just by breathing it. And that was without the elemental Spirit King. If it was, it would be even denser. The elemental energy here was decent, but it didn't seem like there were any elemental spirits here. Elemental spirit. They could create elemental energy and allow themselves to live in the most comfortable environment. The elemental energy here was too thin for elemental spirit. How are you so sure there are elemental spirits here? Bai Feng frowned at Yi Zichen. I'm guessing. Yi Zichen grinned. There's actually a lot more to this, so I won't tell you. In any case, it doesn't matter if there are or aren't. Even if there aren't, there's no harm in coming here to absorb the fire element. You make it sound like you can absorb it. If he wanted to absorb elemental energy like that, he had to be at least at the universe level. Never mind. Since I'm already here, I'll just go with you. Let's get this straight. If there are elemental spirits here, I won't give them to you. Bai Feng bent her waist and said solemnly, No problem. If you want them, I'll give them to you, Yi Zichen said without the slightest hesitation. For some reason, Bai Feng looked at him as if he were an idiot. Is there something wrong with your head? How can you just give them to me just because you said so? Don't you have any desire for them? If you want them, I'll give them to you, said Yi Zichen. You're crazy. Bai Feng glared at him. I don't want that crappy thing. If you want them, then take them. Don't give them to me. I don't want them. With that, Bai Feng muttered under her breath and walked away. I really ran into a retard. He doesn't even want an elemental spirit. Is he stupid? I can't play with him anymore. If he keeps leading me around, I'll become stupid. Chapter 2200. The game has really changed a lot. Yi Zichen couldn't help but mutter to himself as he walked towards the elemental barrack. His HP was gone. At that moment, the game was already getting closer to reality. Yi Zichen's HP had already started to decrease when he reached the barracks. The only thing he felt at that moment was a burning sensation that made him feel very uncomfortable. 4 elemental lakes. That's too weak. Bai Feng shook her head in disdain when they arrived in front of the barrack. I have more than 200 elemental lakes. What kind of crappy place is this? It's called an elemental land, but it's too lousy. Even an abandoned elemental land has 8 elemental lakes. It wasn't for the last time I was here. Yi Zichen frowned when he saw that. Is that so? Bai Feng didn't ask anything else. She merely looked at the fire elemental soldiers in front of her and frowned. If it wasn't for the game with the restrictions of the Virtual World Corporation, these elemental soldiers would be a piece of cake for Bai Feng. Right now, she was purely relying on her equipment. It wasn't a problem for her to deal with the elemental soldiers, but it was rather troublesome to waste time. She wasn't someone with too much patience. She didn't like trouble. How did you deal with these things before? Bai Feng gestured towards the elemental soldiers. Bai Feng, we're bros, right? Suddenly, Yi Zichen grabbed Bai Feng's arm solemnly and stared at her face. The two of them were so close that they wanted to kiss each other. What are you doing? Bai Feng pushed Yi Zichen away. I'm a chaste person. Brat. I treat you as a bro, you actually want to, don't think too much, alright? I have a family already. Yi Zichen clutched his head. He really didn't know what Bai Feng was thinking. Using force on her. He had to have the guts to do that. If the Spirit Phoenix Sovereign got angry, then all the phoenixes of the Fire God race would come. Just a mouthful of saliva from each of them would be enough to burn Yi Zichen to death. Then what do you want to do? Bai Feng tugged on her clothes like a helpless girl about to be bullied. Aren't we bros? Yes. Bai Feng nodded. I can't do that with you. Inhe, Blue Emperor, and I are good friends. They didn't do anything to me. You're really bad. Star rank Venerable Bubble, you sure have guts. Can you stop acting like a drama? Yi Zichen shrugged. Put away your chunibu. All right. In the blink of an eye, Bai Feng returned to normal. I knew it. This girl was really playful and had a bit of persecutory paranoia. I hope that you will keep this a secret from others. No problem. Xiaohua, come out. With that, a handsome youth appeared in front of Yi Zichen. The young man was roughly below Yi Zichen's shoulder. A cluster of flames was burning above his head. His eyes were also crimson, and one could vaguely see wisps of flames in them. Red robes and red trousers. There was even a flaming lotus tied around his ankle. Who told you to wear this? Yi Zichen was stunned when he saw Lil Fire's outfit. Pure red. The color was too monotonous. Lil Lei told me to wear it. He said it looks good. Lil Fire grinned. F***ck, what does a straight guy like him know? Yi Zichen twitched his mouth. Lil Lei was a lightning elemental fairy. He pretended to be deep all the time like an adult. His taste was that of a straight guy. He was the representative of the current straight guy. His clothing combination was unflattering. This time, it was ruined by the fire elemental fairy again. Then tell me how to wear it. Lil Fire tilted his head. Yi Zichen wasn't good at matching clothes either. This isn't bad either. Tisk, the fire elemental fairy twitched its mouth. Who are you trying to cut it with? Yi Zichen pulled on the fire elemental fairy's head. I'm your dad. Do you still want elemental crystals? Dad, I was wrong. The fire elemental fairy bowed. Yi Zichen nodded in satisfaction. When he saw the evil smile on the fire elemental fairy's face, he carefully pondered over his previous sentence. It seems like there's a bit of a problem. The fire elemental fairy, who had entered his teenage years, had grown into a handsome young man. As the two of them spoke, Bai Feng stood in front of them and stared at them. Brat, you're crazy. The exclamation shocked both Yi Zichen and Lil Fire quite a bit. Who's this auntie? Lil Fire frowned. Her. Before Yi Zichen could reply, Bai Feng rushed over and covered his mouth. She squinted her eyes at the fire elemental fairy and smiled. Hello, little friend. I'm your dad's friend, Sovereign Spirit Phoenix. I have an elemental fairy in my family as well. She's the elemental fairy king. I'll let you guys get to know each other when you have time. Fairy king. Lil Fire glared. Yeah, and a beautiful fairy king. If you grow up quickly, then I'll betroth her to you as your wife. Fine, Bai Feng was about to start her nonsense mode again. A human fairy is her family's guardian deity, and she wants to betroth him? Is she even worthy? Shameless. Really? Lil Fire's eyes lit up. Alright, I'll get my dad to prepare a betrothal gift for me. I'll definitely marry her officially. You're getting off topic, AI. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes and interrupted the two of them. Lil Fire, don't listen to her. The one in her family is their family's guardian deity. Betroth her? She has the ability. Yi Zichen rubbed Lil Fire's head. Dad will find you a better one in the future. Don't marry them. With that, Yi Zichen turned to Bai Feng. See Lil Fire. My precious son. He was the one who was swallowed by those elemental soldiers last time. Are you stupid? Bai Feng tugged on Yi Zichen's arm. You brought me to the elemental lands, and you even showed me the fire elemental fairy. Do you think I have no temper? I trust you. Trust my ass. I don't like to know other people's secrets. I feel terrible knowing so much, Bai Feng frowned. Are you trying to force me to marry you? Huh. Bai Feng's brain worked really well. What does that have to do with marriage or not? What are you for? Only the people closest to me are trustworthy. You've told me too much. I feel like I'm about to become your wife. Please let me go, Bai Feng frowned. Come back. Yi Zichen clenched his fist. All right. Bai Feng returned to normal, but she still looked worriedly at the fire elemental fairy. Why do you have an elemental fairy? Just who are you? Only the Master of the Milky Way has elemental fairies in the entire first universe. What's your relationship with the Master of the Milky Way? Then, Bai Feng suddenly frowned. Her expression was rather interesting. She reached out and pointed at Yi Zichen's face. You can't be the illegitimate child of the Master of the Milky Way, right? Chapter 2201. Yi Zichen's expression changed. Bai Feng's expression grew more and more interesting. Lil Fire frowned. He remembered the Lord of the Galaxy. Bai Feng kept mentioning the Lord of the Galaxy. That made him nervous. That's enough. I'm so tired. Yi Zichen feigned exhaustion and sat on the ground, but the heat from the ground made him jump up. When it came to elemental spirits, the first person everyone in the universe thought of was the Lord of the Galaxy. Because he was the only one with an elemental spirit, Yi Zichen didn't find it strange. In fact, he felt it was only natural. Countless people dreamed of elemental spirits, but the Lord of the Galaxy had them. What's more, he stood at the pinnacle of power. If people could see him, they would naturally think of him. Bai Feng's words were already close to the truth. For a moment, Yi Zichen wanted to tell Bai Feng everything. She had a close relationship with the Lord of the Galaxy. At least, that was what Yi Zichen felt. But then he thought about it, he gave up on it. There were some things he had to bear on his own. What's more, whether or not Bai Feng's relationship with the Lord of the Galaxy was as she said was still up for debate. Yi Zichen guessed that it couldn't be fake. But it probably wasn't the truth. All he could do was pretend to be tired in order to stop Bai Feng's guesses. As expected, Bai Feng found it hard to use this trick. Ha ha ha, I'm just saying. But just where did you get your elemental spirit? I got it just like that, Yi Zichen shrugged. You can't really be related to the Lord of the Galaxy, right? Bai Feng's expression darkened. The Lord of the Galaxy's elemental spirit suddenly disappeared. It can't be with you, right? Thump, a woman's intuition was frighteningly accurate. Yi Zichen subconsciously stiffened, then quickly shrugged with a calm expression. Deity, please retract your divine abilities. You really know how to think. You said the elemental spirit was very important. How could he just give it to someone else so easily? Yeah, Bai Feng nodded. That's why I said you were his illegitimate child. Of course I'm willing to part with my son. Isn't that right, little fire elemental spirit? Was Bai Feng testing him on purpose? Yi Zichen's heart sank when he noticed Bai Feng's expression. Return. Yi Zichen clenched his fists. Don't even think about it. If I was the illegitimate child of the Milky Way Master, would I be in such a miserable state? I would have to earn tens of thousands of universe dollars myself. That's true. He's very rich. White Phoenix nodded. Seeing White Phoenix nod, it seemed like she agreed with what she had said. Yi Zichen subconsciously let out a sigh of relief. But where did your elemental spirit come from? Bai Feng's expression darkened again. Elemental fairies can't go to non-elemental lands. You went to an elemental land? My words might make you a little uncomfortable. Bai Feng squinted her eyes. When I first started roaming the universe, you weren't even born yet. I've gone to all the elemental lands in the 3,080 universe countries, and I haven't met a single elemental spirit. Where did you get it from? Inheritance? Then where did he inherit it from? Someone who can possess an elemental spirit is definitely not a nobody. Who is he? I can't let her continue like this. This woman was too terrifying. This girl was not as careless as she looked. If he let her ask a few more questions, he might be exposed. Bai Feng examined Yi Zichen closely. It was as if she were interrogating a criminal, threatening, "Are you interrogating me?" Yi Zichen shrugged. Bai Feng instantly broke down. Be serious, I'm really curious. I can't tell you, Yi Zichen shrugged. Why can't you tell me? Bai Feng frowned. Am I right? No. Yi Zichen shook his head. I can't tell you because I don't want to marry you. Huh. Bai Feng was shocked. You said it yourself. If you know too many secrets, you have to marry me. I don't want to marry you, so I don't want to tell you. Yi Zichen shrugged. F***ck. Bai Feng suddenly pushed Yi Zichen on the shoulder. What do you mean? You don't want to marry me? I, the mighty spirit Phoenix, am not good enough for a little piece of trash like you. Are you sure you want to know? Yi Zichen pursed his lips. This secret is even bigger than the elemental fairies. It involves many people, including at least 3 supreme experts and a few peak clans. Really? Bai Feng frowned. If you want to know, I can tell you. I'm not listening. Bai Feng covered her ears. Don't tell me. I'm not listening. I'm not listening to a tortoise's chanting. Who are you calling a tortoise? Yi Zichen rolled his eyes, but at the same time, a huge boulder fell from his heart. Almost. Just a little bit more and Bai Feng would have exposed him. This girl was really something. She'd already gone to all the elemental lands in Universe 3080. Why would she go there for no reason? She shut Yi Zichen up with a single sentence. Fortunately, this girl didn't like to know too many secrets. If she'd asked him no matter what, Yi Zichen might have kept his mouth shut. Some things were just too scary to think about. Just thinking about it would expose him. I'm just reminding you. Bai Feng suddenly glared at him. Suddenly, White Phoenix, who was covering her ears, glared at him and said, Don't show your elemental spirit to anyone else. Not everyone is as loyal as me. Even if you are on good terms with someone, they might stab you in the back. This is a lesson learned from countless years of blood and tears. You better remember it. You've been betrayed before? How could that be? Who would dare? Go ask around and see who dares to mess with me, Sovereign Spiritual Phoenix. Bai Feng put her hands on her hips and boasted. I'm definitely not a ninja who dares to stab me in the back. I'll directly smash the Spiritual Phoenix Palace in front of their doors. Everyone attack. We won't stop until one of us is dead. Ugh. Awesome. Yi Zichen gave her a thumbs up. For some reason, given Bai Feng's personality, he really felt like she would do something like that. She definitely wasn't just saying it. Wen Li, Blue Emperor, Yin He, they've all been betrayed before. I learned this from them, Bai Feng shrugged. I'm telling you, in the face of certain benefits, the person who betrays you might be the person you think would never betray you. I'll remember that, Yi Zichen nodded. He didn't trust a lot of people, but he felt like anyone he trusted would never betray him again. Su Yun, the great sage, Yang Jian, they were all people he'd been through thick and thin with. Even if he didn't trust anyone, he definitely wouldn't not trust them. It's good that you remember. Let's not just sit around. Hurry up and let your elemental fairy lead the way. Bai Feng pointed at the elemental soldiers in front of them. Kill! Chapter 2202. A young fire elemental spirit. His control and pressure over the elements had also become more and more proficient. The moment the fire elemental soldiers gathered in front of the fire elemental sprite appeared, they all prostrated on the ground. They were formed by the condensation of fire elements. They were of the lowest level and did not have much intelligence. They relied on their instincts to guard the elemental ground. Facing the beloved of the elements, the elemental spirit, an innate sense of submission would appear in their hearts, and they would not dare to have any disobedience. Because their lives were given by the elemental spirit. Take it back. They wouldn't have any complaint. It's such a blessing to have an elemental spirit. She followed behind and looked at the fire elemental sprite that was walking at the very front, full of vigor, and felt envious. As the fire lady, she received the approval of the fire elemental spirit king. Even if he wanted to manipulate the fire elemental energy in the world, there was no way to make them submit to him. It was even more impossible for him to absorb them as easily as the elemental spirit. I'm so lucky. White Phoenix twitched her mouth and looked at Yi Zichen, who was continuously picking up equipment from his bag. Hey, what are you doing? What do you think? Yi Zichen frowned. Oh yeah, my backpack is about to be full, help me pick up some. As she spoke, Bai Feng watched Yi Zichen pick up all the white equipment on the ground. He didn't even spare a single star coin. As long as the elemental soldiers dropped something, they would collect it all. I say, do you really have to be like this? What do you know? This is all money. Yi Zichen squatted on the ground and diligently picked up the star coins. I'm starting from scratch, so I need money for a lot of things. Don't just stand there, hurry up and help. Thinking back to his life, it was his first time squatting on the ground and picking up star coins. Bai Feng's life experience was dazzling. The moment she entered the universe, she was accepted as a highness by the Supremes Association. From then on, her moment of glory began. Any record that could be broken would be broken. She had completed all the tasks given to her perfectly. A warrior could challenge a titled battle pet warrior. After that, no one below the venerable realm would be a match for them. A marquis would receive the fire inheritance of the 5 god races. After obtaining the recognition of the Fire Elemental Spirit King, he became the leader of the Fire Phoenix tribe. When she was in the extraterrestrial battlefield, the foreign races didn't even dare to show their heads. Within the universe, the overlords and venerables didn't dare to have any conflict with her. Her life was so dazzling and smooth sailing. He did not experience any setbacks, nor did he encounter any shackles in his cultivation. In terms of resources in the Paragon Association, her brilliance allowed her to enjoy the best treatment. After she left, she became the leader of the Fire God clan. They didn't lack any resources at all. She had never experienced the distress of money, nor did she know the bitterness of being the head of a household, because her subordinates would handle everything for her. Just as she had said, her leader was to fight anyone who dared to bully the Fire God clan. She had to beat them into submission. That was the responsibility she had to fulfill. Why should I listen to him? Squatting on the ground, White Phoenix pursed her lips before rolling her eyes. I'll just treat it as a taste of life. As the elemental lake decreased, the number of elemental soldiers condensed during this period also decreased correspondingly. After this trip, before Yi Zichen and Bai Feng's backpacks were filled, the elemental soldiers in the middle of the lake were already cleared. Xiao Hua, who was walking at the very front, suddenly stopped. Yi Zichen and Bai Feng picked up the materials, equipment and coins on the ground, then walked up to them. What's wrong? We're almost there. Xiao Hua's expression was rather solemn. He clenched his fists as he looked at the visible waves of heat in front of them. Hearing that, Yi Zichen's expression also froze. That elemental commander? Xiao Hua nodded wordlessly. Bai Feng frowned at the two of them. Elemental commander? An elemental commander born here? Yes. Yi Zichen nodded. Last time I came here, I was instantly killed by an elemental commander, and then, Yi Zichen told him what happened after that. He mentioned how the elemental commander used an elemental ferry as a vessel to travel to the real world. He actually went to our universe. Bai Feng frowned. Of course. If it weren't for Xiao Hua's hard work and my stubbornness, he might have succeeded. Yi Zichen still felt a lingering fear when he thought back to what happened. Fortunately, Xiao Hua had broken through. The ordeal of the Milky Way had strengthened Yi Zichen's resolve. Back then, but the slightest bit of carelessness and the elemental commander was about to take over his body. You're here to deal with him? Asked Bai Feng. There's definitely a reason for that. Yi Zichen nodded. He'd already said that he would definitely come and get even with the elemental commander. He had to come as soon as he said he would. Another thing was that he suspected the existence of elemental fairies. That feeling was very strong. He didn't know why. It was just that when he mentioned elemental fairies, the commander's gaze seemed to say that there were indeed elemental fairies here. Then hurry up and go. Bai Feng tugged at her sleeves as if she was about to fight. He's already at our doorstep. If you don't fight back, I'll feel like you're useless. This guy has to be killed. If he's really capable, he'll even try to devour your consciousness and take over your body. Shameless! Bai Feng's face was filled with anger as she shouted about going to get even with the elemental commander. Yi Zichen and Xiao Hua stared at her silently. What are you looking at me for? I can't get in, Yi Zichen shrugged. The fire element is too dense. Even with the flame cloak Xiao Hua gave me, I can't withstand the heat. Simple. Suddenly, Bai Feng took off her jacket. Here, this is made from a single strand of our phoenix's hair. It's been shed over 10,000 years. It's resistant to fire and heat. You won't die even if you jump into an elemental lava lake. A heavenly divine artifact. Yi Zichen clearly remembered that it was a heavenly divine artifact. Yi Zichen's hands trembled when he put it on. What are you trembling for? I'm lending it to you, not giving it to you. Bai Feng twitched her mouth. Bai Feng twitched her mouth. You have to wear it properly. I've never let anyone else wear this before. Big Sis Wenli wanted to borrow it for a few days, but I didn't give it to her. Alright. Yi Zichen didn't expect Bai Feng to give it to him. Even if she did, he wouldn't want it. It was full of patterns and lace. He couldn't wear it out. Yi Zichen instantly felt as if his control over the elements had increased by quite a bit when he put on the robe. The surrounding fire elements were no threat to him at all. If it was like before, Yi Zichen was certain that his attributes would have skyrocketed. Chapter 2203. With a heavenly god artifact on him. Although Yi Zichen's body looked a bit out of place, his attributes were truly high. There was only one piece of equipment. Yi Zichen felt like his battle prowess had increased by at least 10 times. It was no exaggeration at all. This feeling was like a level 1 smurf who had obtained a top-notch piece of equipment. His combat power was off the charts. He crushed everything with his equipment. Yi Zichen was truly a bit envious. Bai Feng had a mix of heavenly divine artifacts and primordial divine artifact. Don't get any ideas about me. When Bai Feng noticed Yi Zichen's gaze, she frowned and instinctively took half a step back. Big Sister Wenli doesn't allow me to borrow equipment. She said that the few pieces of equipment I buried will affect the balance, so I can use them myself and not give them to others. Affect the balance? To think that the head of the Virtual World Corporation knew about it. They were really good sisters. With these pieces of equipment, Bai Feng wouldn't die even if she wanted to. In that case, I suddenly have a question. Yi Zichen tilted his head and looked at White Phoenix. You're so close with the head of the Virtual World Corporation. Why did you have to obtain those 3 materials in the game? You could have just asked her directly. I want it. You didn't give it to me. White Phoenix shrugged. He didn't give it to you? Yi Zichen found it a bit unbelievable. According to Bai Feng's words, she and Wenli were like real sisters. It was just 3 materials. If the Virtual World Group had them, they would have to pay for it. Wenli would probably give it to him. These 3 materials are quite special. Bai Feng frowned and pursed her lips. Don't worry about it. What should we do now? Go in and cause trouble for him? Before that, I have another idea. Yi Zichen's gaze suddenly turned towards the lake of elemental lava. His gaze was as hot as lava. What do you want? When she saw Yi Zichen's gaze, Bai Feng knew he was up to no good. Shall we go in and take a look? Yi Zichen was filled with curiosity towards the elemental lava lake. He really wanted to know why this magma lake kept giving birth to elemental soldiers. He wanted to go in and take a look. In fact, the reason why he had such thoughts was because Bai Feng's words reminded him. There was the phoenix feather brocade robe. He wouldn't die even if he jumped into the elemental lava lake. Since he wasn't going to die, he might as well go down and take a look. There might be some treasures hidden inside. Opportunity and crisis coexisted. A place like this that could be called a forbidden land would definitely have precious treasures. Yi Zichen shared his thoughts with Bai Feng. White Phoenix smiled bitterly and scratched her head as she looked at the bubbling lava lake in front of her. There's nothing wrong with what you said. But, are you sure you want to go in? Didn't you say that I won't die wearing this? Yi Zichen pointed at the robe he was wearing. You can't be lying, right? Of course not. Bai Feng felt somewhat helpless, but then she suddenly understood why she could become friends with Yi Zichen. They were the same kind of people. She had also jumped into the elemental lake before, but she didn't find anything. She even scared the Phoenix clansman half to death. He didn't expect Yi Zichen to have the same thought. When it came to the elemental lake, she had told a lot of people the same idea as Yizichin. Everyone who heard her say something like that said there was something wrong with her brain. It was one thing to enter the dead lake. Yizichin and Bai Feng were most likely the only ones who would dare think of jumping into a living lake. Then let's go in and take a look. After getting Bai Feng's confirmation, Yizichin gestured towards the lava lake. It won't take too long. I'm just too curious. I want to know where exactly these elemental soldiers came from. Sure. Bai Feng hesitated for a moment, then agreed. She was actually quite curious. The only living lake she'd ever jumped into was the Spirit Phoenix Palace's lava lake. The elemental fairy king presided over that lake, so there wasn't anything special about it. She wanted to go treasure hunting. She even suspected that the treasures inside had been taken away. The other lakes were all dead and there was nothing in them. She firmly believed that there were treasures in the elemental lake. All she needed was a living lake for her to jump into. The lava lake before her, to her, it was a chance to try it out. This was the primordial universe. Nothing had been explored yet. If there really were treasures, then the lava lake would definitely have them. If there weren't, then we'll see. Lil Fire looked at Yizichin and Bai Feng in confusion. Just what were they thinking? Why were they jumping into it for no reason? Let's go. He hurriedly ran to the lava lake. The elemental lava lake was constantly releasing heat waves, and the lava bubbles on the surface of the lava lake looked scary. Yizichin took out a piece of white equipment from his bag. It melted instantly. Is there something wrong with your brain? White Phoenix glared at him. This is a fire elemental magma lake. Its core temperature is comparable to that of a star. What can you possibly do with this broken thing? What are you going to do? Yizichin frowned. Try it with your hands. Why don't you use your hands? I'm not the one who wants to go down. Bai Feng raised an eyebrow. You're the one who said you want to go down. At most, I'll risk my life to accompany you. Besides, I've been down there many times. When I'm free, I'll even bathe in the lava lake at home. What's there to be afraid of? Yizichin was speechless for a long time. His heart wanted to jump inside, but his rationality made him a little afraid. A pony crossing the river is a primary school textbook knowledge. Bai Feng could bathe, but that didn't mean Yizichin could. He let out a deep breath. F***ck, I don't want this arm anymore. Yizichin plunged his arm into the magma lake, then covered his mouth and stared at it. Heh! Suddenly Yizichin grinned. Nothing had happened to his arm in the lava at all. It felt like he was in warm water. He didn't feel any heat at all. Your clothes are really useful. What do you think? Bai Feng put her hands on her hips. Do you know how long it took to make clothes like this? It's the only one in the entire universe. Amazing, amazing. Yizichin gave her a thumbs up and arched his brows. Jump? Let's go. Wait, how are you going to get down without the robe? Yizichin was somewhat worried for Bai Feng. No matter how much she bathed in the lava, this wasn't the spiritual Phoenix Palace, and she wasn't the awe-inspiring Spirit Phoenix supremacy. Right now, she was relying purely on her equipment. If she gave the robe to Yizichin, she definitely wouldn't be able to get down. Don't worry. With that, Bai Feng fished out another robe from somewhere. It was almost identical to the one Yizichin was wearing. Yizichin was utterly confused. Isn't it the only one? Yours is made of male phoenix feathers. Mine is made of female phoenix feathers. They're different, said Bai Feng calmly. She changed the subject. Let's stop talking. Hurry up and go down. Chapter 2204. Elemental Lava Bath. Yizichin was surrounded by a layer of fiery energy bubbles. He and Bai Feng were sinking in separate bubbles. How deep is it? The two of them continued to plunge down for a period of time, but they were still in the magma lake. There were no signs of them coming into contact with the Earth's core. It's too deep. White Phoenix, who was sitting in the flame bubble, waved her hands. From her expression, one could see that she was somewhat excited, and her bright eyes were filled with anticipation. You obviously want to come in more than me. He even risked his life to accompany the gentleman. She had said all the good things. Hey, what's it like when we get down there? Yizichin was curious as well. You'll know when we get there. Baifeng was experienced in exploring, so Yizichin silently followed behind her and looked around. The lava gave off the feeling that it was condensed from the fire element. The purity was very high. Yizichin reckoned that if anyone could drink all of the lava, their mastery over the fire element would definitely increase by several levels. Can this stuff be drunk? Asked Yizichin. Are you crazy? Baifeng laughed. I say, did you investigate me on purpose? Why do you have to ask me every time I have an opinion? Are you trying to get close to me? There's something wrong with you as well. Yizichin twitched his mouth. Ha ha ha, we both have a problem. Baifeng was very happy. She used to think about these things by herself. If she told others, they would say that she was crazy. This was great, the two lunatics got together. Don't even think about this lava. You can't drink it. The White Phoenix said, this lava is a primal element. Even elemental spirits can't absorb it, let alone us. What a pity. I also feel that it's a pity. Baifeng looked at the surrounding magma with a hint of envy in her eyes. If I can eat all these fire elementals, I'll be able to level up quite a few levels. It's a pity I can't. I almost died when I took a bite last time. You ate it. Yizichin was shocked. He was just thinking about it, but he was still hesitant to do it. This grand aunt really had to test the law with her own body. I don't believe it. Baifeng tilted her head. They said I can't eat it, so I can't eat it. I have to try it myself. You almost died? Ah. White Phoenix nodded solemnly. Let me tell you, if these fire elements can really be eaten, they can definitely help me break through at least one stage. Really, think about it. I only took a bite, and my internal organs almost melted. How rich do you think the fire element is? It melted his internal organs. To others, this might be a memory that they would never want to mention for the rest of their lives. Why was it that when it came to Baifeng, it was as if it was a trivial matter? He didn't learn his lesson. Let me tell you, I ate it a few times after that. Anyway, I was almost half dead every time, but I never gave up. I always believed that the magma was edible. The White Phoenix sat cross-legged in the flame bubble and spoke in a serious tone. For the past hundreds of thousands of years, I've been training my internal organs. I think the reason I can't eat it is because the container isn't up to standard. If we can store it in magma and slowly absorb it, there will definitely be a day when it can be absorbed. Do you think what I said makes sense? She'd finally met a kindred spirit. Baifeng was overjoyed and wanted to discuss her thoughts with Yizichin. I don't know if it makes sense or not, but I do know that it really hasn't been easy for you to live this long. This girl was a god. She'd almost died after eating it once, so she'd better not touch it again. She'd actually eaten it a few more times. She still hadn't given up and even came up with a container theory. But when it came to the container theory, Yizichin felt like it was correct. If they could store the magma, there was actually a certain chance that they could absorb it. But of course, they had to know how to raise their internal organs to that level. Life lies in exploration. Baifeng put her hands on her hips and said matter-of-factly, the reason the universe is so prosperous is because of people like me, who have an endless desire to explore. Without people like me, humans would still be stupidly farming. That's right. Yizichin gave her a thumbs up. Yizichin acknowledged this from the depths of his heart. If humans wanted to progress, they needed endless exploration. If no one took the risk, then humanity would forever stagnate. Your friend's idea is indeed feasible, Bailey suddenly spoke up. Where did you go? Yizichin frowned. I went to explore the surroundings, Bailey replied. Then, he looked at Baifeng and said, your idea is feasible. According to our machinery race. Bai Feng nodded. Machine race? Bai Feng's eyes widened. Oh no. The machine race was a different race. They were enemies of humanity. As a peak human expert, Bai Feng would be in huge trouble if she found out that Bailey was a machine. Bailey also felt like he'd misspoken. Yi Zichen slapped him back. Ha ha ha, you heard wrong. I didn't. Bai Feng's eyes were filled with seriousness. Your photon computer said that he's a machine. Hurry up and let him out. The machine race is the best at calculation. If he says it's edible, then it's definitely edible. Hurry up and let him out. I want to hear his analysis. Huh. Yi Zichen was momentarily stunned, then let Bailey out. Hurry up and tell me, how did the machine race determine that the magma is edible? Bai Feng's eyes lit up. She licked her lips and looked at the surrounding magma with a strange expression. Bailey subconsciously glanced at Yi Zichen. When Yi Zichen nodded, Bailey finally relaxed. He puffed out his chest and looked up. According to the machine race's analysis, the elemental lakes in the elemental lands can be broken down and absorbed. Then Bailey put his hands behind his back and explained. He talked about breaking down the elements, splitting the elements, and all sorts of other things. Yi Zichen didn't really understand, so he didn't bother listening. On the other hand, Bai Feng listened with great interest. In short, the elemental lakes in the elemental lands can be absorbed. Bailey looked up and replied. Great! Bai Feng clapped her hands. I told you it's definitely edible. Since the machine race said it, let's see who dares to call me stupid anymore. With that, Bai Feng looked towards Yi Zichen. Oh yeah, why do you have a machine race photon computer? That's not important. Bai Feng shook her finger. The important thing is that it's edible. Bai Feng looked at the surrounding magma and licked her lips. After I train for a few more years, I'll let you guys eat it all. Why do you want to eat it all? Bailey followed up. These elements can be eaten, but after absorbing them, there will not be a permanent increase in your strength. Bai Feng was stunned. Chapter 2205. It instantly froze. After hearing Bailey's words, Bai Feng's face suddenly stiffened. She had tried countless times just to swallow the lava, to increase her strength. If it couldn't increase her strength, then what use was there in eating it? To suffer? She wasn't a masochist. It can't increase my strength? Bai Feng drooped her head like an eggplant. It can't increase my strength permanently. Bailey emphasized. Isn't that the same? Bai Feng muttered. How is it the same? Bailey jumped up as if he was about to explode in anger. However, just as he was about to explode, Yi Zichen slapped him down. Speak properly. This lava is a primal element. I know. Primal elements have a special property. They can catalyze elements. Bailey began his lesson once more. This lava is a type of catalyst that can increase the elemental energy in your body by several times or even several tens of times in a short period of time. Think about it this way. Let's say you're fighting an opponent and you're evenly matched. If you suddenly drink a jar of primal elemental lava, your battle prowess will increase by several times. Or maybe it's even better. If you're in a desperate situation, the primal elemental lava will increase your battle prowess by several times and allow you to escape. The 100 Phoenix's eyes lit up as it drooped its head. Simply put, primal elements were a type of stimulant that could increase one's strength by several times in a short period of time. No wonder. Bai Feng suddenly understood. Every time I drink the lava, I feel like I'm invincible. If it wasn't for that feeling, I wouldn't be asking for trouble over and over again. You've eaten it? Bailey was shocked. Yeah, I didn't say anything earlier, Bai Feng nodded. Bailey remained silent for a long time, then said in Yi Zichen's mind. Is there something wrong with your friend's head? Everything Bailey said was just a theoretical analysis. No one in the machine race had ever dared to try it. Yi Zichen believed that there wouldn't be a second person in the entire universe who would actually do something like that. Yi Zichen grinned. He actually thought so too. Hey, machine race, absorbing primal elements can increase your battle prowess by several times? Bai Feng asked curiously. Please call me by my name, Bailey. Bailey frowned. How many times you can increase depends on how much you absorb. The more you absorb, the more you can increase. Do you know why this place is constantly producing fire elements? It's because there's an elemental crystal core beneath the magma lake. Through the catalysis of the magma, the fire elements have always existed here. Elemental crystal core. Bai Feng was shocked to hear this. It's right under here. Yes, I have already detected that each of these 4 magma lakes has an elemental crystal core, Bailey replied. Bring us there. Bai Feng waved her little hands excitedly. A few hours later, Yi Zichen and Bai Feng arrived at the core. To Yi Zichen's surprise, this part of the core wasn't completely covered in lava. Magma flowed underground, but there was a fault several meters in the middle. Yi Zichen and Bai Feng walked through the lava and watched as it flowed to the edge, then connected to the top. This is it. Under Bai Li's guidance, Yi Zichen and Bai Feng arrived before a boulder. Even with the heat of the magma, it did not melt the rock. The boulder was crimson in color and about 5 meters tall. So this is an elemental crystal core? It's way too big, Yi Zichen couldn't help but exclaim. Shut up, Bailey retorted. What? This is an elemental crystal mine. Bailey rolled his eyes. If you don't know, then shut up. How could an elemental crystal core be this big? If it really was that big, even the overlords would go crazy. Yi Zichen laughed awkwardly at his lack of culture. At the same time, Bai Feng ran to the top of the boulder and jumped down with a treasure in her hand. I told you there would definitely be treasures here. Bai Feng tilted her head and smiled. This is a crystal core? Crystal cores were much smaller than crystal ores. They were an irregular polyhedron less than 5 meters in diameter. They were fiery red. They didn't seem special at all. Yi Zichen couldn't sense any elemental energy from them. Is this thing that rare? Yi Zichen looked at the crystal core. It's all right. Bai Feng gave Yi Zichen a way out just as Bailey was about to look down on him. It's not that rare. At the very least, the artifact hall has a few hundred. Roar, don't give him any face. Sometimes, you have to hit him in order for him to remember. Bailey didn't agree with Bai Feng's answer. Bailey didn't agree with White Phoenix's answer. Let me tell you, there are only a few of these elemental crystal nuclei in every universe. They are very rare top-notch forging materials. Many artifacts of divine rank and above are forged with elemental crystal nuclei as the core. Roar, Yi Zichen nodded silently. A crystal core like this is enough to buy an entire galaxy, Bailey explained. Huh? Only then did Yi Zichen reveal a shocked expression. He didn't have any reference before, so he didn't know how precious a crystal core was. I'm holding an entire galaxy in my hand? You just realized? Bailey was speechless. Yi Zichen put the crystal core away carefully into his backpack. Aren't there 4? We'll take 2 each. All right, Bai Feng didn't refuse. No one could ignore a resource like elemental crystal cores. A galaxy was the rough estimate Bailey gave. If they really went to buy it, a galaxy wouldn't be enough, and no one would do so. This sort of resource couldn't be bought with money. If they wanted to obtain it, then they would need to exchange rare resources of the same value. Yi Zichen obtained all 4 elemental crystal cores. What surprised them was that the bottom of the 4 elemental lakes were connected. Obtaining elemental crystal cores saved them the trouble of going back and forth. Otherwise, it would take a few hours up and a few hours down. They would waste several days. Thus, Yi Zichen and Bai Feng split it evenly. Yi Zichen held the elemental crystal core. Yi Zichen felt heavy. An entire galaxy, including the one in his backpack, Yi Zichen was now a man with 2 galaxies in his hands. Suddenly, Yi Zichen thought of something. Bailey, you said that the fire elements here are all born from the elemental crystal cores, right? Yes, Bailey nodded. Don't underestimate the amount of fire elements it releases. There are a lot of primal elements, so after catalyzing it, it became like this. Then if I take it away, there won't be any more elemental soldiers? Of course not. F***ck. Yizichin was shocked. Where am I going to get equipment without elemental soldiers? Hurry up. Bai Feng's voice sounded out from afar. I found a secret passage. Chapter 2206. The elemental crystal core was taken away. No more elemental soldiers could be born. Yizichin was actually a bit hesitant. He also knew that taking away the elemental crystal core would be a huge profit, but storing it here would provide an endless supply of fire elemental soldiers. These elemental soldiers were like interest. It was actually possible to take away the elemental crystal core after he had collected enough interest. Ordinary people definitely wouldn't be able to enter this kind of elemental lake. Come quickly. Yizichin held the crystal core in his hand, then put it into his backpack and hurried over. What secret passage? This is it, she pointed ahead, then took a few steps forward, then suddenly disappeared from Yizichin's sight. After a while, she walked out again. Look, it's walking inside. Yizichin was shocked. He was shocked by Bai Feng's passion and desire to explore. He was surrounded by lava. The secret passage she mentioned could not be seen with the naked eye. It was such a hidden place, yet she still managed to find it. There must be treasures hidden inside. Yizichin felt a bit of anticipation. Arriving at the bottom of the elemental lake. Although they had obtained elemental crystal cores, they were not peerless treasures. At most, they were rare resources. The secret tunnel was so well hidden, it was very likely that there was a great treasure hidden inside. I don't know. I didn't go in. Bai Feng shook her head. I came looking for you as soon as I found out. Let's go together. If there's any treasure, we'll split it 50-50. Nice. Yizichin grinned. Of course. Bai Feng reached out and patted Yizichin's shoulder generously. Follow Big Sister, and Big Sister definitely won't mistreat you. Little brother, lead the way. Yizichin frowned. You're waiting for me to explode, aren't you? Who said that? Why would I have such thoughts? Do you think Big Sis is that kind of person? You definitely are. It was White Phoenix who instigated Yizichin to test the elemental lava lake. There was an 80% chance that it was the same this time. She didn't dare to confirm what was going on inside, so she asked Yizichin to scout the area for her. I found a secret room, so I asked you to lead the way. Is there a problem? Bai Feng said matter-of-factly. Even if I'm afraid that you'll be struck by lightning, what's wrong with that? If you want the treasure, you're not even willing to make such a small sacrifice? All right, I'll go. Yizichin placed his hands on top of his head and bowed. I'll go scout ahead. Yizichin brushed past Bai Feng, then saw a long corridor made purely out of fire elemental crystal ores. The lava outside poured down like a waterfall. The lava that poured down did not enter the corridor in the slightest. I feel like this was made by someone. Yizichin couldn't help but frown as he looked at the pink translucent walls. The crystal ores in the corridor were of the same standard. Each crystal ore was 3 meters long and 1 meter wide. The two walls of the corridor were made up of 12 crystal ores, while the ceiling and the ground were made up of 6 crystal ores. The entire corridor was very quiet. All they could hear was the sound of lava pouring and bubbling outside, as well as their footsteps. It looks like the Crystal Palace. Bai Feng raised her head and exclaimed. Her exclamation was not without reason. The crystal mines around the corridor were sparkling like crystals. Their shadows were reflected on every piece of crystal ore. If he could see more clearly, this might not be the Crystal Palace, but the Mirror Labyrinth. After walking for several hundred meters, what's going on? Yizichin and Bai Feng had already reached the end of the corridor, but they didn't see anything. If they walked any further, it would be lava. The two exits of the corridor should be opposite corners of the 4 elemental lake. There's nothing, Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Impossible, Bai Feng frowned. Bai Feng wrinkled her chin, rubbed her chin with her palm, and narrowed her eyes slightly. Do you think that's possible? There's only a crystal mine's secret passage here, and there's nothing else. Who would be so bored as to leave it here? Yi Zichen raised his hand. Don't say anything. Bai Feng glared at Yi Zichen, then tossed him aside and paced around the corridor. Maybe they didn't make it properly. It's just a half-finished product, Yi Zichen shouted. How is that possible? I don't believe it. Bai Feng shouted. They'd finally reached the bottom of the elemental lakes, and now they were in such a strange corridor. She refused to believe that there was nothing here. There's definitely a secret room here. While shouting, Bai Feng did not believe it and began to knock on every piece of the crystal ore. Yi Zichen squatted at the exit. Bailey, can you detect it? No, Bailey shook his head. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have noticed this tunnel. Then let's wait. Yi Zichen sat silently at the exit and watched as Bai Feng continued to knock on the ore in disbelief, as if she was trying to find the secret room. Yi Zichen actually wanted to remind her. She'd neglected a very important point. She'd knocked in order to use the sound to determine the existence of the secret room, but she hadn't considered the thickness of the ore. If the ore was more than half a meter thick, even if there really was a secret room here, if she broke her fingers, all she heard was the sound of a solid object. That wasn't possible at all. However, Bai Feng's stubborn temper flared up, and she refused to listen to anyone else. What else could she do? All she could do was wait. Time flowed by. Yi Zichen didn't know how much time had passed. During that time, he sat cross-legged and absorbed the surrounding fire elemental energy. It was pretty effective. No matter what, this was an elemental land, so it was definitely much denser than the fire elemental energy outside. Big sis, let's go. No, I don't believe it. Bai Feng bit her lips and frowned. Yi Zichen sighed and tried to pull her back. If this continued, she was going to go crazy. The Emperor's Star. All of a sudden, Lil Fire, who'd been playing in the lava, ran over. He was the favored child of the elements, so this was a paradise for him. Yi Zichen didn't make him follow him all the way. All he had to do was call him before he left. Lil Fire suddenly ran over with a hurried expression. What is it? Yi Zichen frowned. Did something happen? Or did you find the secret passage as well? Someone's coming, Lil Fire whispered. Someone? It shouldn't be a person. It's a general born of the elements here. Lil Fire pursed his lips. They're already heading this way. Hurry up and leave. Yi Zichen hurriedly pulled Bai Feng back. Hurry up, someone's coming. Someone's coming. Bai Feng was stunned. Yi Zichen dragged her out of the entrance, then the two of them lay flat in the lava, not daring to even peek their heads out. A few minutes later, in this area of the Earth's core, several people whose bodies were burning with flames appeared. Where did the elemental crystal core go? It can even run away on its own. The newcomers shouted angrily. Yi Zichen, who was lying flat in the lava, found the voice rather familiar. He peeked his head out and looked outside. F***CK. It's him. Chapter 2207. What the hell are you guys doing? 4 elemental lakes, 4 elemental crystal cores. If the Lord blames us, who will take the responsibility, or me? In the lava, a man with a long scar on his face shouted angrily. In front of him were several soldiers formed from fire elements. These soldiers were much more advanced than the ones outside. At least from their performance, they had a certain level of intelligence. This is really strange. How can he enter this place? Yi Zichen snuck a peek outside and couldn't help but mutter to himself. This was the elemental lake of the elemental land. Yi Zichen had only been able to enter because Bai Feng had given him a piece of heavenly god-level equipment. Sir, it was our negligence. The fire elemental soldier kept nodding in apology. Negligence? I think you guys are neglecting your duties. The elemental soldiers outside have been completely wiped out. Didn't you guys notice at all? The knife-scarred man scolded angrily. You'd better capture the intruder. Otherwise, before the Lord kills me, I'll definitely kill you first. M'lord, we'll go look for him right away. Scram! Under Scarface's angry roar, several elemental soldiers hurriedly ran out. Scarface, who was standing outside, gritted his teeth for a long time. Then, he walked towards the secret tunnel where the elemental crystal mine was forged. Yizichin stood up from the lava and took out an invisibility scroll from his backpack when he saw that the other party had left. As soon as he took it out, the scroll was ignited by the high temperature. F***CK. Do you have an invisibility scroll? It was too hot here. Anything taken out of the backpack would be burned to ashes or melted. I do have an invisibility scroll. White Phoenix nodded. Yes. Click Use in your backpack. Even though the Virtual World Corporation had made the game infinitely closer to reality, there were still some in-game functions. For example, a backpack, the character's bag was invulnerable. No matter how hot the lava was, it wouldn't burn or melt in the bag. Items could also be used in the backpack. This felt a bit like a hole in the universe, but this hole was far too convenient for Yizichin. Both of them were invisible in the magma. As a fire elemental spirit, Xiaohua could fuse at will and hide himself in the surroundings. Xiaohua's situation did not need to be concerned at all. Where are we going? Follow the person in front. Yizichin squinted his eyes. Are you looking for a secret chamber? Bai Feng's eyes lit up. Speaking of which, it's very likely that there's a secret chamber. Yizichin nodded. I mainly wanted to see what that guy was doing. He shouldn't have appeared here. You know him? He's a native. He opened a casino in the novice village. He's the owner of the casino, Yizichin frowned. I was wanted because of him last time. How strange. How could a native come to such a place? He has a divine artifact. Bai Feng's eyes widened. Do you think that's possible? Yizichin couldn't help but smile wryly. If he can have a divine artifact, then wouldn't he be super popular in the novice village? Yizichin would never believe that he had a divine artifact. It was also impossible. Then he's not human, Bai Feng frowned. What did you say? I said he's not human. Yes. He might really not be human. Yizichin suddenly patted Bai Feng on the shoulder. Scarface, who'd been walking in front of them, suddenly stopped, frowned, and looked back. Yizichin and Bai Feng instantly held their breath. The two of them stuck close to the wall and carefully looked at Scarface in front of them. They watched him frown and look back and forth for a long time. Then he shook his head and muttered to himself for a long time. Yizichin had no idea what he was muttering about, then reached out and pressed his hand on a piece of elemental crystal ore. Rumble! Bai Feng, who stuck close to the wall, widened her eyes and pointed at the slowly moving piece of elemental crystal ore. The violent tremors caused lava to continuously fall from the long hallway. When the lava landed on the ore, it was completely absorbed, leaving not a single trace behind. Then, the door to the ore completely opened. Scarface looked around for a while, as if to make sure there was no one around, then walked in. Hurry! Bai Feng eagerly ran forward, while Yizichin followed behind her. His heart raced. There really is a secret chamber here. There can't be some sort of treasure hidden inside, right? When Yizichin and Bai Feng arrived at the door, it was already slowly closing. Yizichin and Bai Feng grabbed the closed end and entered. Bang! Bai Feng ran in too much of a hurry, so she didn't stop in time and slammed into the wall in front of them. Another long hallway. This time, it was completely parallel to the previous one. Scarface paused. Yizichin and Bai Feng both held their breath. Am I hallucinating? Scarface muttered to himself, then continued forward. This time, the end of the hallway wasn't an exit, but a series of twisting corners. They crisscrossed. Yizichin and Bai Feng followed behind him for a full 10 minutes. How much longer are you two going to follow me? Suddenly, Scarface stopped in his tracks and stared silently at Yizichin and Bai Feng. From his eyes, it was as if he had already seen them. Tailing is a bad habit. Come on out. Yizichin and Bai Feng frowned deeply, but neither revealed their true selves. Are you still going to hide? Scarface suddenly raised his hand, and several balls of fire shot towards Yizichin and Bai Feng. The two of them hurriedly scurried away. This time they were certain. They'd really been discovered. They'd clearly been invisible this entire time. Although there'd been a few minor mishaps, they'd maintained their vigilance and hadn't even heard their footsteps. Scarface, however, had accurately pinpointed their position. Yizichin and Bai Feng slowly revealed themselves, then frowned at Scarface. You finally know to come out? Scarface rubbed his stubbly chin and arched his brows at Yizichin. I'm not sure if I'm imagining things, but you seem a bit familiar. I've seen you before, at the village's underground casino, said Yizichin. No wonder. Scarface pointed at his head. My memory's never been good. Only those who left a deep impression on me left a deep impression. You're the one who stole Atana and still hasn't returned my money. That's right. You're really annoying. Scarface sighed and shook his head. Why do troublesome things always run into you? If I'm not wrong, you're the ones who took the elemental crystal core. Hand it over and I'll give you a quick death.